Post a job on ZipRecruiter, get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ziprecruiter.com/free. That's ziprecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
This is an important notice to consumers facing $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or other unsecured debt. You may not be required to pay it all back because there are special programs now in effect that will significantly reduce the amount you will owe if you qualify. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. These programs, which the credit card companies like to keep secret, exist to aid American consumers struggling with overwhelming credit card debt by offering tremendous savings and real debt relief. Accredited Debt Relief has established a special hotline for you to call and learn what savings you qualify for. They've helped qualify consumers with over $1 billion in debt and are A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. So don't wait. Get the relief you need during these hard economic times. For this free information, call the Accredited Debt Relief Hotline now. Call 800-873-7171. 800-873-7171. 800-873-7171.
Virtua Health is here for you, all of you. Here for the run-of-the-mills, the out-of-the-blues, here for everything in between. And with our Rowan University partnership, we're here, rethinking the way academic medicine feels. Welcome to a more convenient, smarter healthcare experience. And that's more good for everyone. Find a Virtua physician or location near you at virtua.org. Virtua Health, now more than ever, here for good.
WPHT, WPHT-HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Live and local from Philadelphia. Free speech lives here. It's Kayal and Company on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
And away we go. It is indeed Kayal and Company live on this Tuesday, August 15th, here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Always live on the free Odyssey app and streaming live for your video viewing pleasure on YouTube. Supposedly, allegedly, possibly prematurely. I'm actually not sure if we're live on YouTube right now, but we could be. Camera.
We're getting there.
Okay. It's like Trump in court. There might be cameras. There might not be cameras. But either way, we are with you until 10 o'clock this morning.
Yeah, it's a dark day today because we don't have – one of our cameras is not working.
Sometimes things just malfunction. That is live radio. But we're with you till 10 o'clock this morning, 855-839-1210. In the event you typically go to YouTube, and for whatever reason it might end up being down, just get on over to the Odyssey app or listen to us on 1210. Dawn Stensland with the news. Greg Stocker, the chairman of the board. Daniel Valdez efforting to get the video working. And Anthony Dorenzo, our associate producer. A lot to get to this morning. Donald Trump and 18 others indicted by a Georgia grand jury. Then there was a posting from a server on a website that was premature. It was labeled fictitious. It was taken down. And then it went back up and it was the same damn thing. So that's kind of the nuts and bolts. Dawn, how are you?
Doing great. Good morning.
Gregory?
We are live on YouTube.
Okay, we are.
I don't have a camera in here because Video Genius back there decided.
Video Genius.
Those GoPros, one of our cameras is not working. Okay. So those GoPros that we used to use when we first started, he decided it's not good enough. So the camera, I believe, today will only be on you and Dawn, which is fine.
Okay.
That was my suggestion, even though
it's a conspiracy.
He was just like, he was like, we're not going to stream. I'm like, no, we have to stream. We have to stream. Just put the cameras on Nick and Dawn.
And once the camera malfunctions for me, the whole world will be happy because then it'll be all about Dawn Stensland from a visual standpoint.
Which is what everybody wants to see.
Which is what 98% of the audience would like.
Actually, I don't have my eyeliner on, so maybe I sabotaged the cameras. You know?
Oh, really?
Just sitting on teased out.
I sabotaged my golf foursome yesterday as we were out at Bluestone Country Club in Bluebell with the Eagles Radio Network for a big outing, and Piazza Auto was there, so it was Tony Piazza, a few of his employees, and myself, And I don't deserve to go back to the premises.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
That's how bad you played.
I was pretty bad.
Wow.
And it's a kick in the you-know-what
Yeah.
because it's like 1.2 miles from my apartment.
Sure.
Not that I could afford it, but, the one day of having that grand illusion of I could join a club,
Yeah.
Bluestone will be like, take your money elsewhere, Skippy.
I saw what you posted online. I saw the course. It was
Beautiful
gorgeous.
place. Beautiful.
Did you wear your sunscreen?
Mom.
No. No.
We have a group text that we all text one another on. Dawn usually never responds to anything.
Right.
Neither do I.
It's just me and Valdez.
But the one thing Dawn texted yesterday, because Nick texted a picture of himself on the golf course, and his nose is bright red. And she goes, "Wear sunscreen."
I'm auditioning for when Greg fires me around Thanksgiving. So I can play Rudolph in a remake for the holidays.
Cute hat. Love the hat.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
that was my comment.
Don't they? It's a WIP bucket hat. Don't we have any PHT bucket hats?
There was no. They didn't even refer to me as that guy on 1210.
No?
They just said, "Hey, here's this other morning guy."
Are you kidding?
Yeah. It's all right. I was with Piazza. That's all I cared about.
Wow.
The hell with all
Smart.
those sports
That's
leaders.
I'll have words with them.
Exactly
today.
right.
Yeah.
All right, we have a lot to get to. The big take, obviously, with Donald Trump and Georgia, and a lot of other good stuff along the way this morning. But before we get to all of that, let's get to the great mother of the show who tells me SPS 50 on the schnoz.
That's right.
Here's the great Don Stensland.
I need to get him a gift basket with all the necessities.
I'll take it.
Sunscreen. Today, yes, you'll need the sunscreen, and we'll tell you moving forward when rain may be moving through. Good morning. This Tuesday morning, August 15th. I know that Nick Kayal has in store for you a lot of Trump news, and he'll be breaking that down. But I want to talk about locally in Philadelphia, this triple shooting leaving a woman dead last night. This happening in Southwest Philadelphia. I say last night, it was before sundown around dinner time. 5:15-ish, and this was the 6200 block of Glenmore Avenue. 37-year-old woman shot twice in her head, rushed to a local hospital where she was pronounced dead. Doctors could not save her in the emergency department, and two others injured in that shooting, including a 15-year-old boy and a 27-year-old woman. Both of those victims are listed in stable condition this morning in the hospital. Police do say one person was arrested, and I don't have any more details as far as what happened here, what was the motive. In fact, police asking, call 215-686-TIPS if you have further information looking at surveillance images and that sort of thing. That's what they're doing this morning to try to figure out what in the world triggered this situation. We also have in the Kensington section of Philadelphia, a 27-year-old man was shot and killed in a police-involved shooting. That one obviously under investigation, but the family speaking out saying the 27-year-old man had serious mental health issues. So we are following that story as well. And a 17-year-old teen arrested in Philadelphia, and this in connection with terrorism and a terrorism probe. So involving the FBI, this 17-year-old arrested on state charges, allegedly communicating with this group called Katibat al-Tawhid wal-Jihad. They're known as KTJ for short.
Oh, sorry. What?
Stop.
Yes.
And designed as, they're saying that he was a global terrorist, but this is a global terrorist group, international terrorist group affiliated with Al-Qaeda.
Okay, I was going to ask if it was Islamic extremists.
As soon as she read the name, I was like, guilty.
Yes.
So he's under arrest. He is an aspiring terrorist here in Pennsylvania.
Some of us grow up wanting to be a football player, and some of us want to be an attorney. Others grow up wanting to be a terrorist and blow stuff up.
But authorities speaking out saying he was a grave danger to everyone.
Wow.
Teen suspect allegedly sending and receiving media containing terrorist propaganda, also taking steps to go overseas for the purpose of joining or supporting this terrorist group. So we'll wait for more information on this, but neighbors are speaking out saying they are completely shocked by, as you can imagine, by this story.
Has Merrick Garland weighed in on whether or not he plans to indict Trump for this as well?
Yeah.
Just wondering. That could be number 5, folks. Stay tuned.
That's on Rudy Giuliani.
Okay.
He must have been. No.
Yeah.
Too soon, right?
Yeah.
So last night's big news, former President Donald J. Trump indicted for the 4th time last night. And Nick will tell you a lot about the grand jury. We'll also talk moving forward because it has been mentioned about these electors. So we'll talk about in Pennsylvania might be a little bit of a different case in PA as opposed to other electors in other states. But we're watching all of this very carefully. But, in the world of sports, you mentioned that we need role models as we talk about, first of all, our Philadelphia Phillies beginning a new series, and that's not at home. It's against the Toronto Blue Jays. So that's a 3-game series beginning tonight, this evening. And Messi Mania coming to Chester. A lot of people very excited about the Philadelphia Union set to take on Inter Miami. And superstar Messi, I love it, Messi Mania.
Yeah.
Not as in clean up your room.
Messi. Like, how do you not scoop up a lot of beautiful women with a name like Lionel Messi and a bank account to boot?
Yes, right?
Good life if you can get it.
Well, everybody's psyched for him, so I wanted to end the news on because there's a lot of concerning news on that. So Messi Mania coming to Chester, people prepping and really excited to see the superstar. As far as the forecast, we are looking for 85 degrees today, but we could see storms roll through again. This sort of tropical pattern where we see the high humidity storms roll through this afternoon, and that will tee us up for a lovely set of days, mid-80s, lower humidity starting for your tomorrow. That's your NBC 10 First Alert forecast. Kayal and Company News Live.
All right, Dawn, thank you very much. 6:11 here on this Tuesday morning. Let's get to another big take.
The Big Take on Kayal and Company.
All right, the big take this morning, Bury Me in Georgia and Let Me Rest in Peace. Popular country artist Kane Brown has a single out, and it is called Bury Me in Georgia. And the lyrics go like this: Bury me in Georgia, let me rest in peace. Now, time will tell if the establishment can bury Donald Trump, but one thing we know for sure, he won't rest and he won't go in peace. Monday, we saw the 4th indictment of Donald Trump, this time in the state of Georgia. Or did we? No, actually, we did. More on that debacle in a moment, as it is an absolute disgrace with how this thing played out from a protocol and process standpoint. But let me explain what continues to occur. As I have outlined in the past with big takes regarding indictments of Donald Trump, we not only have a pattern here, but we have a blatant and obnoxious trend. If you recall, on Friday, a special counsel was named for the Hunter Biden investigation, and the special counsel was David Weiss. He was appointed by Merrick Garland, and that was the big take yesterday. And once again, the trend continues. As soon as anything breaks in the news when it comes to the Biden family, you can take it to the bank. A Trump indictment is sure to follow and right around the corner. One day after bad news for the Bidens, Trump was indicted by Alvin Bragg. A day after more bad news for the Bidens, Trump was indicted for Mar-a-Lago. A day after more bad news for the Bidens, Trump was indicted for the 2020 election on January 6th. And now, actually 2 days later, because we had a weekend in there, 2 business days later after the Hunter Biden news, Trump has been indicted in Georgia, reaching a total of 4 indictments in a total of 5 days combined after news surrounding and breaking with the Bidens. You can't make this up. They don't even try to look remotely objective. They flat out don't care. But let's go back to the beginning of the big take where I said the following. Monday, we saw the 4th indictment of Trump, this time in the state of Georgia, or did we? As it played out yesterday in real time, according to Reuters, Fulton County, Georgia posted the Trump felony charges on their website before the grand jury may have officially returned the indictments. Let that sink in for a moment. In Atlanta, Georgia, Fulton County, you have a prosecutor's office so anxious to post the indictment online that they are jumping the gun before the process is complete. We saw the entire document that was shared on social media in the early afternoon hours. Case number 23SC18945. File date 8/14/23. Charges including violation of the Georgia RICO Act, which is racketeer influenced and corrupt organizations, multiple conspiracy counts, and false statements, as well as filing false documents. But it doesn't stop there. Atlanta's Fulton County court officials then claimed that the document posted online on their own website was, quote, fictitious. This is real life. A court document posted from their server was fictitious. This is our legal system. In the United States of America, in a case against a former president, and we have this level of ineptitude and or corruption running rampant. And we are being mocked and laughed at around the globe. Make no mistake about it. In this case, though, where Trump is charged with trying to overturn the results in Georgia, you have the 77-year-old facing 13 charges, and then 4 hours after this fictitious indictment was posted, you have officials issuing this statement. Quote, all members of the media should be reminded that documents that do not bear an official case number, filing date, and the name of the clerk of courts in concert are not official filings and should not be treated as such. End quote. Now, if we had a fair and unbiased political and legal system, there would be an immediate inquiry into who did this, who posted it, how and why. But it's okay. It was just fictitious. As reputable legal analyst Jonathan Turley said on Twitter yesterday, quote, it is hard to explain how a docket entry on the details of the indictment would be drafted, let alone posted, if the report is true, end quote. Well, it's Trump derangement syndrome, and it's real. How real? Well, let's take a trip down memory lane. Let's listen to this. This was when a Georgia grand juror on the Trump case had this to say about a possible indictment a while back. Take a listen to this.
Did you personally want to hear from the former president?
I wanted to hear from the former president, but honestly, I kind of wanted to subpoena the former president because I got to swear everybody in. And so I thought it'd be really cool to get 60 seconds with President Trump of me looking at him and being like, do you solemnly swear? And me getting to swear him in. I kind of just thought that would be an awesome moment.
I kind of just thought it would be an awesome moment and cool. Seriously. These are people trying to indict the former president, laughing and giggling like a 12-year-old at summer camp. Perhaps now you will see why I say that young females, presumably left-wing, single, no kids, like that nut job right there, are the GOP's worst nightmare. Because the reality is, they want your dude gone. Gone. They want him out of the equation. The question in this case, though, will be this. And I want you to take a listen to this audio. This is the clip that allegedly is Donald Trump on January 2nd, 2021, talking about votes in Georgia. Take a listen to this.
So, look, all I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have, because we won the state.
Now, as Fox News legal analyst Jonathan Turley has stated, quote, the biggest tell will be the degree of reliance on that call. And it could very well come down to the interpretation of that audio recording. The question will be, or one of the questions will be, was it an effort to challenge, which in that case, Trump is fine. You have the right to challenge whatever you want. Or was it an effort to defraud? That is the million-dollar question. How that audio recording is perceived by the jury, which could very well likely determine Donald Trump's fate. And of course, the prosecution will have a tough task. As we know, the district attorney will need 100% of the jurors to believe that Trump was attempting to defraud. But all you need is one. I've always said this. It's actually advantage defense attorney and defendant. If one juror believes it was an effort to challenge, then there's a very good chance the 45th president of the United States will be found not guilty and will walk free. But in the meantime, it doesn't look like anyone will get to rest in peace as they attempt to bury DJT in Georgia. And that's the big take.
The Big Take on Kayal and Company.
All right, big take this morning. If you would like to jump in and give your thoughts and reaction, you can certainly do so. 855-839-1210, the phone number. Twitter and Instagram at 1210WPHT. And on YouTube, youtube.com/@1210WPHT. Hit the like and subscribe buttons and be a part of the Kayal and Company comment community. We'll get Dawn's thoughts on the other side. Wild day yesterday on many fronts. And also coming up, Georgia. Would this case actually be on television, and would it benefit Donald Trump? And also why this case in Georgia could be so damaging. So we'll look at it from many different perspectives. As we get it going here on a Tuesday morning, it's Kayal and Company on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month. a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-635-3311. That's 1-800-635-3311. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-635-3311. That's 1-800-635-3311.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at selectquote.com/commercials.
This is Larry Steinhaus of Investor Schooling. I am so proud to announce the continuing success of our students at Investor Schooling. You already know that at Investor Schooling, we teach real estate investing and stock options. Did you also know that we teach things about tax savings, estate planning, and business coaching as well? We teach things about money I bet you never knew. At Investor Schooling, we teach from the perspective of true experience. If you want to see what our students think about Investor Schooling, please check out the over 160 5-star Google reviews. To find out more about how you can change your financial life, go to investorschooling.com or call 866-424-2829. That's 866-424-2829, and you can attend a complimentary class this Thursday at 7 p.m. Attend that class and see for yourself what Investor Schooling is all about. Go to investorschooling.com or call 866-424-2829. That's 866-424-2829. We can't wait to see you this Thursday.
Hey, it's Rhea Hughes. Going back to school means getting back to busy schedules. From the science fair to the ball field to that after-school snack, we're always on the go. So add a little tasty to your kids' day and pack some delicious Tasty Cake mini muffins, seasonal favorites like s'mores baked pies, or the classic crimpet. There's only one way to make your kids' day tasty. Anything else is a miscake. Tasty Cake, except no substitutes.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Do you feel like you're always looking for another energy boost? Then try Rescue Orosine from Rescue Natural Supplements. As we age, our bodies don't tend to produce enough natural fuel to get rid of that stubborn feeling of fatigue. Well, Rescue Orosine provides just that. Orosine helps by boosting energy production at the cellular level while also supporting a healthy heart and blood pressure. Right now, our exclusive radio listeners can buy one bottle of Orosine, get another one free. Just use the code FUEL when placing your order. Call today, 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483. Speak to a knowledgeable product consultant or use the code online when you visit res-q.com. That's res-q.com. Make sure you mention the code FUEL, F-U-E-L, when you call, or use the code at the online checkout. Again, use the code FUEL when buying a single bottle of Orosine to receive a second bottle free.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
I'm asking about Prevnar 20 because there's a chance pneumococcal pneumonia could put me in the hospital.
Age 65 or older, you may be at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a vaccine that can help protect against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
I want to be able to keep my plans.
So I'm asking my doctor about getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
Your official home for Penn State football and basketball is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT and the free Odyssey app. Listen to every Nittany Lions game on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT and the free Odyssey app. Calling on Blackwood to follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now. Hey!
Ah, 625, Kayal and Company, Tuesday morning here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Nick Kayal, Dawn Stensland, Greg Stocker, Valdez, and Dorenzo here. Yeah, Monday in the books. It was just another day in America. Trump indicted. Ukraine gets another $200 million. And the big guy says, you know what? I just gave out $200 million to Ukraine, but don't worry, Maui. I got you. How's $700 per household affected sound? That should clean up the mess. What a world, and what a time to be alive. A lot of good stuff to get to this morning. CNN is mocked for their pronouns. Also, San Francisco says, you know what? You can work from home from now on, not because of COVID, but because our city is littered with crime and it's not safe for you to come into the downtown area to go to work. We'll get to that story. Best Buy on the way to being Bud Lighted, and also Elon and Zuck in the news yet again. And also a compensation story here in Philadelphia that we will touch on. But the big story of the day yesterday was centered around Donald Trump and Fulton County, Georgia, as Trump now receives indictment number 4 in Atlanta after a circus of a day in which, you know, the grand jury was still together. They were still meeting. Indictments were posted online, and then they were taken down. They were labeled fictitious, and then it became official in the evening hours that Trump was officially indicted. And we'll get into what all the different complications could be, the television aspect of this, and many, many other things is that will dominate the story headlines this morning on the show. But Dawn, I want to get your thoughts and reaction to the way things played out yesterday, because it seems like this thing took a lot of different plot twists and a lot of curves and detours over the course of 7, 8, 9 hours from early afternoon through the evening hours.
Yeah, well, that's just it. Look at the headlines this morning. Trump indicted in Georgia election interference case. You don't see what you just pointed out. The fact that this is curious, even if somebody was hacked or pranked or whatever happened, that piece, I think, is an important piece for transparency. What happened? Where are the questions into that? And so the fact that it's just not in the headlines, it's not even being reported widely that I can see, that's concerning. And as well, the fact that this comes down 2.5 years later. You know, I think we're all guaranteed the right, yes, to defend ourselves innocent until proven otherwise. But the fact that, you know, you're supposed to get a quote unquote speedy trial, and the fact that this is 2.5 years later, really, what information were you still gaining 2.5 years later?
Oh, it'll be speedy. It'll start it on January. Well, not this one specifically, but it'll start it on January 2nd and hope to wrap it up by Super Tuesday in regards to the third indictment. So it took forever to get to this point, but now it's like, all right, let's try to get it done as quickly as possible, which, as Trump has claimed, is obviously election interference. Although I will say this, just big picture view of the 4 indictments, I think this is I don't think this is the sexiest of the 4. But I do think this is the most interesting because Alvin Bragg, complete waste of time. Classified documents, Mar-a-Lago. I mean, everybody's doing it these days, right? That's what the kids say. Everybody's got a podcast. Yeah, everybody's got documents. Yeah, you wave them around. Hillary took this, and this person, and Joe took that when he was VP. I do think this is going to be an interesting one because I do think this will be difficult with the RICO front, which is the racketeering charge. And also, when you read about some of the stuff with the prosecution in this case, it looks like this prosecutor has a history of prosecuting a RICO case with, I guess, somewhat of a famous rapper. I wouldn't know because I don't listen to rap music. But this, to me, it seems the most juicy. It could be the most damning. Yet I hate to oversimplify it, and I could be off because there's more than one charge here, obviously. But I do think it comes down to what Turley said as to how that phone call will be interpreted by those on the jury. Was he trying to challenge or was he trying to defraud? Which is interesting because it feels like both sides historically have tried to do everything in their possible power to deny elections, challenge them, perhaps defraud that we never heard of or we never knew about. I think that's what it's going to come down to. You know, we can sit here and talk about that audio recording of Trump waving, you know, those documents. Well, what specifically was he holding? I guess that's also open for interpretation. But this phone call, I think it just really comes down to what you hear, so to speak.
Yeah, and if they, to my point, you know, about the 2.5 years, you had the phone call, you've had it 2.5 years. But look at the 18 other defendants. that's an important piece of it too. Rudy Giuliani's former attorney John Eastman and Mark Meadows, obviously former White House chief of staff, and then the co-defendants, Jeffrey Clark, former Justice Department official Sidney Powell, and Jenna Ellis, conservative lawyers who, pushed a lot of claims, as we know, about voter fraud. So the fact that there are all these other defendants and co-defendants tell me that they will do what they've done, what DOJ has done, which is try to just put the heat on any one of those individuals to flip something to testify against him.
Sure.
So I think that's a critical part. And then the RICO Act, which includes the fact that they can confiscate your land, your property, as we've reported, that's a big news story a lot of times that even if somebody, usually it's a case, and we've reported here in the Philadelphia area, well, they'll take the home of a grandparent because their grandson was dealing, pot out of the house. So that's how.
Usually big money involved in these cases and transactions.
It does give the prosecutors a wide range of, powers to confiscate, owned property, land, etc., assets. And so that's a piece to me that makes this one different.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, obviously the Trump team, talking about the fact, as you said, that it's political. I just think imagine running a presidential campaign. Now you have these 4 cases. I believe that all of the prosecutors in the cases have to coordinate amongst themselves.
Yes.
So
Which is why I think we all kind of agree that this is political, whether it's a political prosecution or persecution. The timing. Every time something goes down with a Biden, within 24 to 48 hours, here comes a Trump indictment. You don't win Powerball 4 times in your life. You don't get struck by lightning 4 times in your life. But you can get indicted if you're Donald Trump 4 times immediately after anything shows up or pops up with Biden. But you make a good point with the 2.5 years. And I think I shouldn't even say most, I think everybody would agree with this, that if Donald Trump was not running for re-election in 2024, these things are not popping up. Because and I get it, the legal process takes time. Like, I've seen it, Dawn, you've covered it. Like, the courts move slow. These attorneys, nothing goes fast. But 2.5 years, and then you make your announcement that you're running for office again, and you just know deep down inside that if he was just, I don't know, let's just say Trump was exhausted. Let's say Trump was sick. Let's say Trump was like, I had enough. I just want to play golf the rest of my life. I don't think these things are popping up today.
Yeah, I agree. The timing, even for somebody who thinks that he deserves any or some of these, you have to admit the timing is strange. Mm-hmm. And the fact that it does feel all timed and coordinated.
That is correct. On the TV front, I found this to be a very fascinating breakdown because I was unaware of this when it came to Georgia specifically. But this comes from NBCnews.com. In Georgia, cameras could sharpen the focus on Trump in the courtroom. That's the headline. They go on to say, if Donald Trump is indicted in Fulton County, Georgia, it will not be the first time the former president will answer to criminal charges in a courtroom. But this time, the entire process will likely play out on live television, which, by the way, I will watch every single second of. Unlike federal or Manhattan courts, where the former president appeared for his first 3 arraignments, Georgia law requires that cameras be allowed into judicial proceedings with a judge's approval. In a Georgia Supreme Court case 5 years ago, there was an order amending the law to include smartphones and underscored the importance of transparency, saying, quote, open courtrooms are an indispensable element of an effective and respected judicial system. Quote, it is the policy of Georgia's courts to promote access to and understanding of court proceedings, not only by the participants in them, but also by the general public and by news media who will report on the proceedings to the public. See, I find this to be fascinating. I love the fact that this is a thing in Georgia. And as I said, I will watch it. But objectively looking at it, here's what I'm saying. These are the 2 things that pop up into my mind. How do you strike the right balance of transparency, which I think we all want? Maybe the Trump haters out there don't want the transparency. They just want to see him go up in flames. But how do you balance the transparency of the court process versus the potential circus element of what we saw 28 years ago? Because in the O.J. Simpson case, that turned into an absolute sideshow. And I believe it was in large part because of the cameras. And I think a lot of it had to do with the defense and Johnny Cochran, and he's a showman, and he played to the cameras. The cameras affected Judge Lance Ito. I don't know that the cameras really played into it much with Marsha Clark and Darden, but Johnny Cochran put on a show. I mean, it's fascinating theater for us. It will provide great content, but I'm very interested to see what people think about the transparency versus what could very well become the biggest sideshow in 30 years in criminal history. I think it would be fascinating to see the way it plays out and how it actually affects the case. Because, I mean, if you're Trump, you're probably pleading the fifth in almost every element. And his attorneys are going to be speaking. And it's going to be very interesting because the cameras will be fixated on Trump. And we're going to have memes and GIFs and things on social media, him rolling his eyes, him his snickering, him doing what he does best, and that's putting on a performance. I'd be really surprised if Trump just sat there in a Georgia courtroom, motionless and stoic. It doesn't seem like that kind of that's not the way I would describe Trump in any way. Trump is a very animated person. So, I mean, I don't know about you guys. And obviously, we'll be paying attention to this if it is televised. But my productivity around my apartment is going to go down big time if this is on TV because I'll be glued to it.
But the question is, because if you look at the bulk of it, it focuses, the toughest charges that I can see focus on the 18 others.
Mm-hmm.
So that's interesting to me as well, that they treat them as if they're an organized crime sort of mafia group, and they're putting them all together in one lump group.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I think when Trump attorneys release that statement saying they look forward to the detailed review of it, they say it's flawed and unconstitutional. So as they pick this apart, I just have to wonder if first and foremost they say we want to separate this out. You're not going to try all of us at once and putting 19 people together.
Yeah.
And then you try to parse the different charges, but they're clearly putting the stamp of, oh, Trump did this, and then putting all of these individuals and all of these alleged trumped-up charges,
yes,
all in one big lumpy bag.
Yeah. and I think the reality is most people don't care about the other individuals. It's obviously all about Trump. Yeah,
and that's what they count on, Nick.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of appeal with Giuliani, Meadows. I mean, obviously if somebody flips on him, it's a big deal. But the other actual people
somebody
indicted,
will flip.
I mean,
there's no question in my mind. Somebody will flip.
Yep.
The odds are at least one will, right?
Meadows.
You've actually said that in the past.
Well, he's the alleged leaker, right?
Yep.
From other things.
Mm-hmm.
So the presiding judge does have the final say on camera access, and it also means that the criminal trial could be televised in its entirety, which would be fascinating to say the least. And then Axios has, and I always like, whether I agree with their breakdown or not, the way they put it together is very good because it's easy to digest. Between Axios and Jonathan Turley, if you want a very digestible Cliff Note version and not to get caught up in all the legalese stuff, that's the way to go, at least in my opinion. So experts are pointing to several reasons why the potential Georgia charges could be more likely than the other cases to be damaging for Trump. They go on to talk about the complexity of RICO cases where it makes it difficult for lawyers to implement a coherent trial strategy. Also, the stiff penalties associated with RICO charges are a major incentive for co-defendants to seek deals in return for new evidence. Now, I don't think Trump's going to strike a deal. You heard him this past weekend. We don't do deals. We don't take deals, anything like that. So that's very far-fetched. But since Trump would face state charges in Georgia, the sitting president won't have the ability to pardon him. In Georgia, the power to pardon is vested under the state constitution to a board of pardons and paroles, which requires that a sentence be completed at least 5 years prior to applying for a pardon. They go on to say that if Trump were to win the presidency, or if a Republican sympathetic to him were to win, the president of the United States can't pardon or can't dismiss. That puts it in a very different light from the federal cases. And this is what I had mentioned, either it was yesterday or on Friday's show, where this is why I think the motive for a lot of these people polling way behind to stay in the race is this case specifically. Like, you're like, well, why is Christie sticking around? He's got no shot, which he doesn't. Why is Mike Pence in the game? He's wasting his time. DeSantis, Vivek, Scott, Haley. Because if Trump gets convicted here, that pardon power is gone. So, yeah, he can run for president from prison, but the power to pardon, if elected, doesn't exist. So that's why these guys, I think, are staying in the race and not withdrawing, because they want to see the way this legal process plays out.
It's almost like somebody said that months ago.
You know what, Sucker? You're much more brilliant than people give you credit for.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
So all the YouTubers out there. But, I mean, this is like, it's just so maddening for me, because I'm sitting here and I'm watching this play out, and I just don't understand. And, like I've been surrounded by some of these people for 8 years now. The amount of disdain for this guy that there's people out there actually roaming planet Earth, Dawn, that hate the guy so much that they can't see what's actually unfolding before their eyes. And again, I believe in law and order, whether I like the person or not. Like, if you do something wrong, you should be dealt with. But there's so many haters out there of this guy that they're so blinded by their disdain for him that they can't see the persecution aspect of all of these charges. It's maddening. Like, that's how bad this guy lives rent-free in their heads. It really is a syndrome. I believe that.
Yeah, but you're right. And the big picture, I think, as well, is that Trump, because he's an outsider, was not, as far as the deep state, the so-called swampsters, they did not want him in the first place, and they don't want him in now.
Yep.
And this is, to me, I think to so many, even independents, libertarians, look at this thing, four indictments in a 5-month period. This many years later, it just has a stink and a stank to it.
And that stunk.
It does.
Stink, stank,
stunk. Most people just look at this in a very common sense way and say, really? This many years later, to have 4 major indictments, and he's named either solely in most of them or in this one with 19 individuals in a 5-month period, as he is the leading contender to compete against Joe Biden in a major United States of America presidential election.
Yeah.
I think you don't have to be a genius or an attorney or anything to look at this and say, geez, this thing, it really, this doesn't look like justice. This doesn't look arbitrary. This looks like they really don't want this guy in office. And ultimately, I would be curious to see after this one, I would be very curious to see what the polls say.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think it solidifies the support for Trump.
It's going to go up again.
Yep.
I mean, indictments to Trump are like spinach to Popeye. Every time they're injected, he gets a boost. Yeah, it's like back in the old days when you used to watch Hulk Hogan on wrestling in the 80s, and you thought he was down, and then another indictment comes and he starts to Hulk up and he starts to shake his finger and wave at you like, no, you don't have me down. Like, that's what Trump is with the polls. So I think that's going to go up big time. And let me take this call. I hope he says this, what he mentions on my commenter. Ted's in Swarthmore. Ted, I'm going to tee you up for an O.J. Simpson reference here with Trump. You go right ahead, sir.
Okay, you beat me to it. I was trying to call and let you know maybe we should get a fund together to rent Donald Trump a white Bronco, and that way, with his police brigade rolls into Atlanta and the white Bronco's there. Hey, it's all good.
We're gonna need Al Cowlings driving the Bronco, and he's gonna go down 95.
All he has to do, yes, right into Atlanta and do that. But here's the thing, the other thing, Nick, I surely hope the Democrats remember, and I'll use a Nick Kayal reference, we keep receipts.
Yes, we do, sir. Yes, we do.
We have receipts.
We always keep them.
Have a good day.
All right, there he is, Ted in Swarthmore. That'd be an interesting little TV drama, especially in this day and age of social media. You imagine Trump in a white Bronco fleeing from Atlanta? He must see TV. Rachel Maddow's head would explode. Joy Reid would go breaking in live wall-to-wall coverage. Wolf Blitzer in the Situation Room. That'd be a sight to be seen. 855-839-1210 is the phone number if you guys would like to jump in on the conversation. We'll certainly get back to Trump in a little bit. But how about this? In Philadelphia, the city launches a guaranteed income study to address poverty. And we'll explain the motive when we come back. It's Kayal and Company, live here on a Tuesday morning on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
You're invited to a private showing of the most important movie you'll see in retirement. The Baby Boomer Dilemma is a groundbreaking documentary from award-winning director Doug Orchard. Throughout the film, Nobel Prize winners, PhDs, and esteemed economists expose the cracks in the financial industry that have 401ks, IRAs, Social Security, and other retirement plans on the brink of collapse. After the movie, you'll receive an education that's unlike any other. Learn how to apply the solutions presented by these experts, which align with and validate our proprietary crash-proof retirement system, proven by over 5,000 consumers. Register for this complimentary screening at the William Penn Inn on September 12th, and let Crash-Proof Retirement provide you the crucial information you need to avoid the baby boomer dilemma that's on the horizon. Registration is required. 800-722-9728 or crashproofretirement.com.
Hi everyone, this is Stephanie Kelly from Emmons Roofing and Siding, and I have some exciting news to share. Emmons has partnered with SunPower, the top-rated home solar company in New Jersey. SunPower has been leading the solar industry for over 37 years and is the only U.S. solar company that's lasted longer than their 25-year warranty. Kill the bill, the energy bill that is. Imagine no more high energy bills, while all the while helping reduce your carbon footprint at no cost to you. It's a win-win. Yes, we now offer solar, but remember, if you need a new roof, siding, doors, windows, or interior remodeling, don't wait. Right now, Emmons is offering all 1210 listeners 10% off roofing, siding, and Anderson windows. And we are continuing to offer 12-month same-as cash financing. And don't forget that lifetime warranty on your roof. Give us a call today for a free estimate at 856-885-6677, emmonsroofing.com. Roofing, siding, windows, doors, kitchens, baths, and solar. Trust Emmons to be your first and last stop for all your home improvement needs. emmonsroofing.com.
Hi, I'm Rachel, and I have a serious heart condition called hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, or HCM. Some symptoms include being short of breath, feeling tired, or having dizziness or chest pain. I still had symptoms on my beta blocker, so I asked my cardiologist about any treatment advances. It was a breakthrough for me. That's why I'm working with Bristol Myers Squibb to raise awareness about HCM and to help others like me. Talk to your cardiologist today. You may be glad you did.
Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb.
Volvo Finance, in concert with Cherry Hill Volvo, is offering lease and cash bonuses up to $2,500. Purchase or lease a new XC40 or XC90 through Volvo Finance and through Cherry Hill Volvo and receive this additional bonus along with the aggressive pricing already posted on our Cherry Hill Volvo website. This is a special offer and it is not to be missed. Volvo Finance and Cherry Hill Volvo and you, a perfect partnership.
Heading down the shore? Looking for that perfect place for dinner and cocktails? Then you have to visit Mulligan's Shore Bar in Wildwood. Mulligan's is the perfect neighborhood bar with great food, drink specials, live entertainment, and reasonable prices. Stop into Mulligan's and be greeted by their friendly staff who will list out all the weekly and daily food and cocktail specials. Mulligan's Shore Bar is at 310 Hildreth Avenue, just off Rio Grande in Wildwood. Check them out on Facebook. Mulligan's Shore Bar and Grill.
Comedian Joe Conklin.
Chip Snapper's trying to figure it all out. Let's talk to him. Hello, Chip.
You can always tell the kids from Kensington on the beach in Wildwood. They build them sandcastles and then they board them up with popsicle sticks.
Hire Joe Conklin for corporate events.
We hired Joe for our sales meeting, and he was hilarious. He had everyone cracking up laughing.
Pick your next event up a notch. Hire comedian Joe Conklin. Go to joeconklin.com. GoConklin.com.
Hi, I'm George Parenti, the lead dog at the Dogs and Cats Rule stores. Our stores are stocked with everything, from cooling pads and vests to cooling booties for those hot paws. Or your dog can dip their paws in one of our specially made pools. Don't forget the floating toys, ball launchers, frisbees, and of course, a new summer collar and leash, so they look their best at the dog park. Dogs and Cats Rule with 7 neighborhood locations, or visit online at dogsandcatsrule.pet. That's Dogs and Cats Rule. Shop small, shop local, shop family.
Free speech lives here. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
Kayal and Company, 6:50 Tuesday morning here on August the 15th. It's great to have everybody in. 855-839-1210, the phone number. You can get us on social media at 1210WPHT on Twitter and Instagram. Listen to us on the free Odyssey app. Watch us on YouTube, youtube.com/@1210WPHT. Stalker wants you to hit all the buttons, like, subscribe.
Yeah, baby.
We get an update as to how that's going. Also, some instant feedback in a couple of minutes. Dawn with some news coming up here in hour 2. And also, this Philadelphia guaranteed income study, which I'm sure we'll have some thoughts on in just a moment. But I do want to highlight, I mentioned this in the big take this morning. Here are actually the dates and the details of the trend that we have seen with Biden and Trump, just to wrap things up here. And this was from Natalie Winters on Twitter. March 17th, Hunter admits laptop. March 18th, Trump indicted for Manhattan and Alvin Bragg. June 8th, the FBI document alleges a Biden bribe. June 9th, Trump's indicted again. July 26th, Hunter his plea deal collapses. July 27th, Trump's indicted again.
No S.
And on July 31st, Devin Archer testifies. And on August 1st, we had a new indictment. And then more Biden news on Friday, August 9th. And then yesterday, we had Trump indicted on August 12th. Actually, no, that would have been the 11th and the 14th.
Yes.
Yes. So.
Wow.
I mean, it was nice that we could throw a weekend in there just to break it up. You don't want people to catch on, right?
It's literally the next day for most of them.
It's unbelievable.
Oh, my God.
I mean.
Wow. Jesus.
You know, like I said earlier, it's like hitting Powerball multiple times. Yeah, it's like getting struck by lightning. It's like hitting 2 tee shots out of bounds at Bluestone Country Club. Actually, I did that yesterday. But anyway, so that's the Trump stuff. We'll round back to it a little bit later. I'm sure there'll be some stuff with the cut sheet. And if you want to jump in, 855-839-1210. The Philadelphia guaranteed income study is interesting. I'm not sure if people have paid attention to this, but it should matter to every one of us, and it should matter to all of you for 2 reasons. Number one, where's the money coming from? And number 2, we're all kind of struggling right now, unless you're in the 1%, and we could all use some guaranteed additional income these days. But this story in the Philadelphia Inquirer, as Philadelphia has announced a new guaranteed income study designed to determine to what extent additional financial aid increases economic mobility for families in need. The study is done by the Office of Community Empowerment and Opportunity, which is aimed at parents who have received TANF, T-A-N-F, temporary assistance for needy families from the state for more than 5 years. Its design over a year, it includes 50 recipients of extended TANF will be granted an additional $500 per month, while 250 other recipients will receive an additional $50. The first payments were issued back on June 17th. So the city expects the study, according to the Inquirer, to reveal ways to make financial assistance more equal and especially to guarantee public funding, and it's distributed regardless of race or gender. Cities like Durham, North Carolina, already offering unrestricted cash. Think about that for a second. Unrestricted cash to avoid, wait for it, systemic racism. In Philadelphia, with 43% of the population black, the need to do so is arguably bigger, so says the Philadelphia Inquirer. And according to their stats, the poverty rate in Philadelphia is about 23%, which is the poorest city, the poorest big city in the United States of America. So you're talking about almost 1 in every 4. These, I think a lot of people see these stories, and if they don't pay attention, to the way things have shifted politically in this country, they say, oh, that's great. Yeah, this is a nice deed, a generous notion. But 2 questions. Where's the money coming from? Okay, so answer is probably tax dollars. That's great. And then 2, how do I qualify? Wait a minute. Things are tough for me. I'm paying $3.95 for a gallon of gas as well. My grocery bill's up 20%. My electric bill's up 16% year over year. These are, once again, the things that drive me insane, not from a gender standpoint, socioeconomic, race, whatever. I don't know. Maybe I'm 39 going on 69, but I was just raised where, if you don't have enough money, you know what you got to do? You got to work harder. You got to work longer. You got to work more. Not take handouts. Like, it's cool every now and then if you're in a pinch and you got a family member and you can ask for a little bit of money. The family member's well off. Who hasn't done that, or at least asked in the past? I'm going to raise my hand because I'm guilty of it. But I don't need the government taking care of me, or like, if things are rough for me, then okay, if a full-time job's not enough and you got to grab 12, 13, 15 hours a week part-time elsewhere to make ends meet, or to do the additional type of stuff you like to do, the non-essential stuff, you do it. I'm not sure if you guys saw this, but this is one of those things where, and this is not like the big city reparations where we've seen in San Francisco or in Los Angeles, where they come up with these absurd numbers. Gavin Newsom has brought this up in the past. Millions upon millions of dollars. This is a small dollar amount, but these are the things where I'm like, you know what? Almost every single one of us could use something like this right now. And where's it coming from? It's coming from our pockets. Those are the things that bug me when it comes to stories like these. So figured we would share that one courtesy of the Philadelphia Inquirer. 855-839-1210 is the phone number. But I did not know that from a poverty rate, Philadelphia, 23%.
Yeah.
I would, if we were playing like a game right now, I would have said Detroit. I'm trying to think of another big city where poverty, because you always hear about Detroit lacking internet access for young children. But I did not know that Philadelphia. I mean, I figured we were up there. I would have probably thought Atlanta as well.
No, this is why the scholarship program that I know I talk about it every day,
Mm-hmm.
but the scholarship program that Governor Shapiro, and I'm still stunned, because I've known him, I'm still stunned that he, of all people, growing up in Abington, he knows full well how much that kind of scholarship voucher program.
Yeah.
And it's only for you have to be poor.
Yeah.
And you have to be in one of the worst performing school districts in the Commonwealth of PA.
Sure.
So it's not for the wealthy. It's not even for the middle class.
Mhm.
It's barely for the working class. The fact that we're this poorest city and they denied this for kids.
Yeah.
That's what makes it atrocious.
The thing that bothers me about this too, like if it's for internet, if it's for schools, if it's for school districts and children, like I got that. I'm totally on board with that. When it's just a check given to people that don't work or people that are on drugs, like how do you know that additional income is going to things that really matter, that you need, and not being wasted on the stuff that maybe prevents them from working or is a reason why they're on a substance or addicted to it? That's the stuff where it's like, how do you track it? Like, how do you make sure that it's being used properly?
Yeah, you're exactly right. As far as that study that they're calling the study that you referred to, that we've talked about that.
Yeah,
because those payments, right, started in mid-June.
Yep.
But they're calling it a study, but it's basically a pilot program.
That's correct.
They're doing it.
Yeah, they
so
are.
You know what I mean? It's funny to me they're calling it a study. They're not. I'm not saying anybody's doing this on purpose. I'm just saying it's more than a study.
Mm-hmm.
It's activated.
Yeah.
And so they're giving.
Yeah, the payments were issued on June 17th.
Yeah. So
we'll see.
And that one, I don't know what to say. They're way below the poverty level, and most people get $50 extra a month. I think some who are dirt poor with little kids has to do with aids of families.
Right.
Who was remember the presidential candidate? Oh my gosh. And I love him too. Andrew Yang.
Andrew Yang. He was going to be the face of that third party, and then they were like, yeah, he's not good enough.
But remember he said, why not give all Americans $1,000 as to beef up the community?
Sure.
You know, that sounded ridiculous at the time, but basically these kinds of programs are trying to spur the economy by doing that. He was just saying, make it across the board, make it equal.
Right. Yep. Well said. Andrew Yang. Haven't heard that name in a while. 855-839-1210. Coming up to kick off hour number 2. Dawn will have some news. And also, the social media warfare could very well be coming to an end. We'll explain as we continue here on Kayal and Company.
Hi, this is Joe Medercher, PNC Bank Regional President. What's important to you? What drives you? What do you want your wealth to do? At PNC Private Bank, we call that your why, and we want to understand yours. Maybe it's creating a legacy, buying a home, or enjoying your retirement. Whatever your goals are, we'll work with you to build a personalized wealth plan to help you achieve it. So tell us, what's your why? To learn more, please visit pnc.com/privatebank. PNC Private Bank is a service mark of the PNC Financial Services Group, Inc. PNC Bank, National Association, member FDIC.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing. Together millions of things for our planet. August is a great month to help out the environment by improving your gas mileage. Make sure your tires are properly inflated and heavy items like golf clubs aren't stored in your trunk. Take your car in for a tune-up to ensure it's running at peak performance. And when the weather is nice, walk or bike to your destination to enjoy a beautiful summer day. When we each share our one thing, it becomes 100 things, 1,000 things, 1,000,000 things for our planet. What's your one thing?
In the Pennsylvania Army National Guard, get a head start on a career in exciting fields, including science, communications, engineering, and medicine, all while earning money for your education. This training will boost your eligibility for a high-paying and rewarding profession, and you can get it all while serving part-time in your community. To learn more about the Pennsylvania Army National Guard, visit nationalguard.com/PA and talk to a recruiter today. Paid for by the Pennsylvania Army National Guard.
Life can get hectic. It's easy to lose focus and balance. Wouldn't you love to retreat from the noise? Take a breath. Regain your inner peace. Visit Malvern Retreat House, the nation's largest Catholic retreat house. Our stunning campus is the perfect place to step back, reflect, and recharge. Malvern Retreat House hosts men's and women's retreats, helping individuals live life centered on Christ. Go to malvernretreat.com to discover your journey. Retreat from the noise. Hear God's voice.
For a complete list of Talk Radio 1210 WPHT's contest rules, go to 1210WPHT.com/rules. Lose weight and feel great with NJ Diet. NJ Diet uses DNA and blood work to help you lose weight and keep it off. Tune into the radio show Sunday at 2 or visit njdiet.com.
Looking for a new Ford? Winter Ford has the vehicle for you. Choose from our large selection of new F-150s, Explorers, Escapes, and Bronco Sports today. Winter Ford also takes care of you after the sale. Stop in their service department with no appointment necessary. Call 800-428-4000 for offer details. Visit in person or online at winterford.com. Winter Ford, people you trust, service and value you'll love.
WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Philadelphia, the ideals of our nation were shaped right here.
And we work together to uphold them.
I'm Fred Shropshire.
And I'm Jacqueline London. This summer, let's celebrate our wins.
Walk-off number 4!
Embrace our different perspectives.
Help our neighbors.
No idea how helpful this was.
Honor our heroes. And share the laughter.
At NBC 10, we'll always be here to tell your stories.
Count on.
My partners had told me I should get my knee replaced. I was in my 40s, and I decided that I wouldn't do that.
That's orthopedic surgeon Dr. John Herzog, who found regenerative medicine years ago and became a believer.
It changed my life around. It improved me to a point where I was able to jog again.
That's when Dr. Herzog switched his focus from surgery to helping his patients with natural biologics.
I've treated at least 5,000 patients. I believe your body has everything it needs to heal itself.
Today, you'll find Dr. Herzog at QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in this exciting field of medicine that can give lasting pain relief with no downtime, no drugs, and no surgery.
I have patients coming up to me that I did 10 years ago saying, you know, Doc, my elbow's still working great. I'm playing tennis 3 days a week.
Call QC Kinetics now to explore alternative ways to deal with your pain. It's a free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 215-999-3000. That's 215-999-3000. 215-999-3000.
Ah, summer. Time to head to the pool, hit the links, and enjoy some Phillies baseball.
It clears the out-of-town scoreboard by a couple of rows. Bryson Stott has put the Phillies on top.
With the free Odyssey app, you can stream every Phillies game on 94 WIP, no matter what you're doing this summer.
JT's in at second, and he's hit for the cycle.
Get in the game and download the free Odyssey app today. That's AUDACY.
Hey, Riverton. We know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Kayal and Company, hour number 2 underway. 7:05 here on this Tuesday morning. Nick, Dawn, and Greg, Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. You can get us on the free Odyssey app. Watch us on YouTube. Cut sheets coming up at 7:45 this morning. The big story of the day, of course, what happened yesterday as former President Donald Trump indicted for a 4th time, this time in Fulton County, Georgia, as Trump will face 19 different charges in regards to the attempt to challenge or defraud when it comes to the election in 2020. And that will be a very key element to this case, as Jonathan Turley has laid out. We gave you some of his tweets and his commentary from some of the columns that he has written in the first hour and in the big take. He's all over Fox News on Fox and Friends again this morning. I hope he's charging on a per hit appearance because he's about to be a millionaire.
Are you his agent?
No, I'll tell you what, if he has a good agent, this is not a base salary that he's drawing and getting put through the car wash, so to speak, like he's on ESPN or something, because he has been plastered all over the TV, and he's breaking things down again on television. So we'll keep you updated with that. And, of course, the timeline from yesterday from this, quote, fictitious document. In the indictment gets posted on the Fulton County Court website from their server, and it's up there for approximately 4 hours before it's taken down, and then we are told from court clerk officials that it was fictitious and that they had not even finished the indictment yet. And then a few hours would go by and the indictment became official. The big charge, the racketeering charge, the RICO charge, so to speak, is the most serious of the felonies. And we broke that down for you a little bit in the big take this morning. And then also comparing the Georgia case to Mar-a-Lago, to D.C., to Manhattan. And then also one of the more interesting components of this, whether or not this would be televised live on television in the state of Georgia. They had a Supreme Court case, and essentially nuts and bolts being that they deem it to be necessary for transparency, which I actually think the Trump defense team really wants. I think they want Trump on television. I think it adds to the I'm under attack. It's the sympathy card. And also, if you feel like you have a strong case and you think you have a good chance of beating these charges, you want the American public to see this. So from a selfish standpoint, I definitely want to see it as a talk show host and as somebody that watches too much television, as Greg Stocker has told you. And I probably spend too much time on social media, as Greg Stocker has told you. It's going to be hard to quit those two things if this becomes a TV drama. So if you guys have thoughts, you can certainly weigh in 855-839-1210. But let's get the news, hour number 2, and here is Dawn Stensland at 7:08.
And good morning. This edition of Kayal & Company News Live, sponsored by United Tire this morning. 79 degrees already. Think about yesterday. At this time, we were in the low 70s. We're already nearly 80 degrees. Full forecast in just a moment. This Philadelphia teenager charged in a terrorism probe is shocking his community, his neighbors this morning after local and federal officials held a news conference announcing these charges against a Philadelphia teenager. They say that this kid, 17, was in a terror group, had joined a terror group and was receiving instructions on how to build a bomb. So it's a developing story as we think about the story, the neighbors concerned about this. So we're following that story for you as we've been talking about it since 6 o'clock this morning. A Philadelphia police officer shot and killed a 27-year-old man yesterday afternoon. This happened in the Kensington section of the city around noon, just after lunchtime. 24th District officers say they saw a car driving erratically. They pull over the vehicle, or tried to pull over the driver, and it says that he took off at that point in a Toyota heading south on Lee Street, suddenly turns left, heading the wrong way on East Willard Street. So the man has been identified by his family as Eddie Irizarry, and eventually pulls over. And at that point, officers approach the car, according to authorities, and at least one of the officers we know was wearing the body camera, so we will have that released. But they say that this suspect stepped out with a knife, threatening officers. Witnesses contend that they gave multiple commands for him to drop the weapon, and say that he lunged at those officers. That's when at least one of the officers fired multiple times, shooting and killing this suspect. So this morning, the latest, the family is speaking out, saying this man, Eddie Irizarry, suffered mental health issues, that he only had a pocket knife, that the officers had tasers, and so you can see where this is going.
Of course, yeah. Yeah, police versus mental health. Everybody in their own corner. Yes, yep.
So
par for the course.
I will say I'm thankful for these body cameras.
Yes. You know, it's amazing the the impact of a camera.
Yeah.
Whether it's Kayal and Company on YouTube, Trump in court, or police body cams. Let the video tell the truth.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well said. Because all you don't hear all those details, which is why I spent we spend extra time giving all the details of this tense chase.
Sure.
They obviously, saw this, and they don't know if it was a carjacking, but once they're headed one way, appears to be a dangerous individual threatening officers. So there it is. So the as it's standard operating procedure, obviously these officers will be on desk duty.
Yep.
And that's common.
Okay.
This triple shooting, just updating that one, that it remains under investigation. The latest is they do have a suspect in custody who they've arrested in this one. I don't know if it's a domestic situation, but this happened Southwest Philadelphia, dinner time on Glenmore Avenue yesterday. 37-year-old woman shot twice in her head. She was rushed to the hospital. They couldn't save her. She died in the hospital, but there were two others injured, including a 15-year-old boy, another 27-year-old woman. They're in stable condition this morning. So it certainly sounds like a domestic situation, but we don't have the details. We only know they have arrested one individual in that case. And we're continuing to follow the latest of this 17-year-old we're learning about it. The news conference was just yesterday. We learned more, but the actual arrest by the feds and the state and the local officials was actually on Friday afternoon. So we're getting those details, but it was the terrorist group known as KTJ and associated with Al-Qaeda. So a lot of reaction as the neighborhood is saying, what the heck? We had no idea.
And what specific neighborhood was this again?
And so they're in Philadelphia.
Okay.
I have a picture of the house in Philadelphia. You see the SWAT team surrounding, neighbors coming out saying, what in the world is going on? So it was the 5900 block of Woodbine Avenue. This is the city's Winfield section.
Okay.
So closer to the main line, I guess you would say.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a section of the city that I would say is an area that's not a high crime area. Right. That tree-lined streets, that sort of thing.
Yeah, a story you typically don't expect to hear in Philadelphia. And honestly, I feel like we haven't heard many of those general stories in recent years. Like, not that it's ever going to go away, but we haven't heard much about, the terrorism stuff in this country.
Yeah. So
the media's too busy covering Republicans and calling us terrorists. So.
Yeah, and they were talking about that he was making a bomb. So what else did they find in the neighborhood home? We just don't have all of that information, but we'll continue to follow it. Of course, the big story that Nick Kayal's Big Take focused on, former President Donald J. Trump, indicted for the fourth time late last night officially. and that grand jury naming a total of 19 individuals, including the former president. So his response, that's making news, as well as those associated with Pennsylvania. I'll just point to the lead of the Inquirer this morning, just when we talk about media and bias by omission. So if you think about the times that the Philadelphia Inquirer, let's say after the Hunter Biden story, it did not really focus on the top or the head of the lead story of the Inquirer. This morning, if you look at all of every publication, locally, nationally, everybody's talking about Trump, 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 and not as much even focusing on the other 18 named in the indictment.
Yep.
So we're just kind of taking a peek at that and doing that evaluation.
I like the fact that they stay on brand, Dawn. They stay consistent. That's commendable. Hashtag sarcasm.
So we are sponsored this morning by United Tire. Is your car's AC unit making you sweat? Time to cool off and cash in on savings at United Tire. You can save $50 on any AC service with the purchase of 4 new tires from select brands at United Tire. Just stop by or visit UnitedTire.com. Don't drive alone. Drive United. NBC 10 First Alert Forecast. It's another hot, humid, hazy day with afternoon thunderstorms and rain showers expected, but it will tee us up for a far less humid day, mid-80s, beginning tomorrow with bright sunshine. This is Kayal & Company News Live.
All right, Dawn, thank you very much. 855-839-1210. The cut sheet in just about 30 minutes. I've got Jonathan Turley's latest article that he just wrote. It's posted. I retweeted it if you want to read it and follow along in regards to Donald Trump and what's going on from yesterday and all of the cases that are, piling up against him. And Turley says the scope of the alleged conspiracy is massive. Indeed, every call, speech, and tweet appears a criminal step in the conspiracy. District Attorney Fani Willis appears to have elected to charge everything and everyone and let God sort them out. He goes on to say in his piece at jonathanturley.org, he talks about the case, and as expected, the indictment is a sweeping racketeering-based prosecution involving former President Donald Trump and 18 other dependents. So we have 19 specific individuals, and the scope of the alleged conspiracy is massive. The call is one of those steps, but the famous line that has occupied hours of coverage and led to the investigation is not the central allegation. Indeed, every call, every speech, every tweet appears a criminal step in the conspiracy. So remember we were talking about getting access to his Twitter, and I believe it was something to the effect of they tried to get access to his Twitter, and it took Twitter or X and Elon Musk and the company, I believe, multiple days to respond, and there was some sort of monetary fine, I believe, to the tune of $350,000 for being late with that. And we were asking, well, why do you need access to his Twitter? What's up with the tweets? You can see everything on his Twitter timeline. I think the last time he tweeted, I think, was January 6th of 2021, or maybe a few days after that. But everything is out there for the taking in the open on a public forum. And then if you start to realize, if you don't understand the way Twitter works, you have your mentions, which is the messages that come to you publicly in response to something you say. And then also the direct messages, the private communications you're having that nobody sees, that are one-on-one, chats, so to speak. And I remember saying vividly, I can't imagine that Donald Trump said anything in a direct message to anybody, much less anything that would be remotely incriminating. But I think this goes to show you just how hell-bent they are on charge after charge, indictment after indictment, count after count, because it's just like, it feels like no matter how flimsy they might be, no matter how much of a legal stretch it could be, we heard the phrase in the Manhattan case about bootstrapping a misdemeanor to a felony after the statute of limitations expired. Not to make people's head explode and try to figure out what all that means, but it's like they're basically throwing darts at the wall, and they're just hoping one of them sticks, one of them lands, and as I said in the big take, all you need when you go to trial for any of these cases is one juror that agrees that the defense has created reasonable doubt and Trump is found not guilty of that. But with all of that being said, the more that these indictments pile up, it's only probably going to take one in which he's found guilty where he ends up doing jail time. And you could, well, it might be a minor sentence, but nothing's minor when you're 77 years old. Nothing's minor when you're the former president of the United States. And nothing is minor when you're the leading frontrunner for the Republican Party by every single poll on planet Earth. And we laid out for you just about 35 minutes ago the trend here and just how in step everything is between Biden to Trump, Hunter to Donald, Joe to Trump. And you go down the list, March 17th, March 18th, June 8th, June 9th, July 26th, July 27th, July 31st, August 1st, August 9th, August 11th, August 14th. Everything stacks up where, okay, the Democrat just got hit with this. Now let's get Trump with that. And on and on and on you go. And Greg, I know you have said that you're on record. You think neither one of these guys will be the options in 2024, a.k.a. we will not see a rematch. Yeah. Regardless of anybody's political opinion, it looks far more likely that with the vitriol and the scope geared directly with the bullseye at Trump, if you had to take a guess here as to which one has a far more likely chance of not making it, it's Trump because different motives, different rules, Democrats, Republicans. The only way at this point I see Joe Biden not being the guy is if for some reason we've been lied to, which we probably have, about his health and that he just cognitively and physically cannot even do his noon to 4 scheduled shift, which is what Joe Biden typically works.
Yeah.
Like, there's like two different things. You got the legal system versus Trump. I don't think it's the legal system against Biden.
No.
We know that. It's clearly just brain and body for that guy.
I have a former talk show host on this radio station, who commented on Newsmax TV last night that he believes that Donald Trump will go to prison and he will be elected president of the United States.
Oh, boy.
So that's coming up in about 20 minutes.
All right. Stay tuned for that. 7:45. Put a little bow on some of the Trump stuff, and we'll get to Elon versus Mark Zuckerberg coming up in about 10 minutes. We gave you the story last week of the individual, the 75-year-old Craig Robertson, who the FBI showed up at his house. He was a Trump supporter, and he was also a guy that they claimed there was credible threats to the life of Joe Biden. He was shot. He was killed. We have a follow-up story on that. This is from the New York Post last night. Trump supporter shot and killed during FBI raid was pointing a .357 Magnum at the feds. You can take that for what it's worth. That could be just what really happened. That could be what they're claiming happened. But I'll give you some of the details. It's up for you to decide. The staunch, and I love the way and this is from the New York Post, by the way, so this is not from the New York Times. Yep. This is not a left-wing publication. The staunch Donald Trump supporter gunned down by federal agents during a raid at his Utah home last week was brandishing a .357 Magnum when he was fatally shot, the FBI said yesterday. Craig Robertson, 75, was armed with a revolver when he confronted federal agents trying to execute a search warrant on Wednesday over his alleged assassination threats against President Joe Biden and other top Democrats, the FBI said in a statement. Again, keep in mind who the source is, the New York Post, and also keep in mind the FBI. And we have heard, a lot, and we've talked a lot about the FBI and, disbanding the FBI and things like that. According to the Desert News, the statement read as follows, quote, Robertson resisted arrest, and as agents attempted to take him into custody, he pointed a .357 revolver at them. The FBI takes all shooting incidents involving our agents or task forces seriously, and in accordance with FBI policy, the shooting incident is under review by the FBI's Inspection Division. No further details to provide at this time.
Does the FBI wear body cams?
I was just going to ask that question.
I believe they do. I believe they didn't used to, but I believe this is a new thing.
Yes.
I think in like 2021 or 2022 or something, they just started. I could be wrong. Somebody might correct me.
I don't know that there's anybody out there that would be against officers having body cam footage. I think we talk about courtroom drama and having cameras. This is a topic, whether it is an African American or a Trump supporter or anywhere in between. All I want are the facts.
Well, to that point, we see all these body cam videos of every traffic stop that goes wrong.
Yes.
I'm assuming eventually we'll see the body cam footage of this, if there was some.
I mean, and I don't even need body cam footage just in the incident or in the instance of violence. I want body cam footage for everything. Whether you're raiding somebody's closet to grab classified documents, like we should have, as taxpayers, we should have, if these things go to court, and I'm not saying we should have like a 24/7 access to watch it whenever we want, but like when these things are in the news, these things should all be available for us and for a jury and for prosecution and defense, defendant and victim to validate what you're claiming and arguing happened. It's not that difficult. I mean, I know you got to go through the process and go through the courts, and maybe it goes to a Supreme Court, and these things aren't just voted on out of a hat and yes or no. I mean, there's a process for all of this, but I mean, it would clear up so much.
Navy Prepper on the YouTube chat says FBI doesn't do Secret Service warrants. 6 a.m. an intruder comes through your door. What are you going to do? I mean,
the FBI doesn't do Secret Service? What?
No. They don't do like warrants. So like, we have a warrant.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
Basically, it's like a no-knock raid or whatever.
I believe so. But then those have also been in the news over the years with these no-knock raids where you come barricading through the door and somebody else is in there that's not supposed to be in there, or wrong address and wrong victim or wrong perp and things like that. There was one case, it was a couple of years ago, where the no-knock warrant was really in the national media because I think some innocent female or a child was accidentally shot. I forget the specifics. I could try to find it during one of the breaks, but we just wanted to fill you in and update you on that story as well. 855-839-1210. We started to get the feeling that it was all a charade, and it looks like it could be over before it ever started. We'll give you the details and what that means coming up next as we get to the cut sheet at 7:45. But right now, how about this? Piazza Auto Group. I was hanging out with Tony Piazzi yesterday, playing golf at Bluestone, and Tony, one of the owners, the great Piazza Auto Group, what an awesome guy, very good golfer, and he was asking me, he was like, so, how you like the truck? I said, oh, the truck? You mean the truck, like the Honda Ridgeline that I have, not the alleged minivan. He's like, yeah, the truck. Said it was great. Love it. It's absolutely smooth. He made a great point. He said it's basically a big SUV with a nice-sized bed. And I said, you know what? That's a great way to put it because I never hit a pothole. I never hit a bump. That thing rides so smooth. And the financing, even better. Right now, 0.9% APR if you are in the market for a truck. MAGA Man on Twitter is going to be test driving one soon. The 2023 Honda Ridgeline. I have the black edition. I suggest you take a look. Great value, great steal. I got mine in Springfield, but you could also go to Philadelphia, Langhorne, Pottstown, or Reading. And if you're not in the market for a truck, that's fine. Tony will take care of you. All of their family, all their dealerships will take care of you. The Civic, the Accord, the CRV, the Pilot, Honda right now with Piazza, a great option. And if you're not in the market for a Honda, that's fine. 17 brands. Take your pick. 35 locations. Take your pick. To find your new or certified pre-owned vehicle today, just visit them online, piazzaautogroup.com.
The roar of our engines, the pump of our heartbeats, the pedal to our metal, the sparks that ignite us, the pistons that push us, the passions that drive us. From the feelings that move us to the places that pull us on the roads that unite us. With nearly 6,000 stores and over 17,000 auto care centers, Napa has America's largest network of parts and care, here to keep you firing on all cylinders.
I can't wait for what's next, even with higher stroke risk due to atrial fibrillation, irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Eliquis, the Pixaban tablets, reduces stroke risk. It's the #1 cardiologist-prescribed blood thinner.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without talking to your doctor, as this may increase your risk of stroke. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or have antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or unusual bruising, or if you have tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. It may increase your bleeding risk if you take medicines such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
More than 80 million Americans depend on AM radio each month for news, weather, and emergency information. A new bill in Congress would make sure AM radio remains in cars, because when cell and internet services are down, this free service could be your only lifeline. Text AM to 52886 and tell Congress to support the AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Dust off those renovation plans and start designing that new kitchen of your dreams with some help from Colonial Marble and Granite. Colonial Marble and Granite is offering fully installed countertops for just $14.99 or an all-in kitchen for $6,999, including cabinetry, countertops, and sink and faucet package. You heard right, $6,999 all-in kitchen. Stop by a Colonial Marble and Granite area showroom to see their amazing selection of products or make an appointment for a free in-home consultation. Visit colonialmarble.net.
At Independence Blue Cross, we believe in giving you the tools you need to pursue your healthiest life. From premiums as low as $0 per month to health discounts and cash rewards, it pays to have coverage with Independence. With the strongest network of doctors and hospitals in the region and free 24/7 virtual doctor visits, you can feel confident that quality care is always within reach. Learn more about your coverage options at ibx.com.
Your official home for Penn State football and basketball is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT and the free Odyssey app. Listen to every Nittany Lions game on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT and the free Odyssey app.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Here's retirement phase expert Phil Cannella with today's report.
Have you ever wondered or even considered the difference between credited interest returns and gains on Wall Street? One you get to keep and control. The other one comes and goes. We're going to analyze investors' returns on the S&P 500 from 2000 to 2015, and then we're going to compare them to a certificate of deposit only compounding at 2% during that same time period. Using data curated by Delbar Corporation, which is this country's leading analytic firm over Wall Street, investors only averaged a total of 2.66% per year from 2000 to 2015. Now, this does indicate that $100,000 invested in the year 2000 through 2015 has grown to an estimated $128,000 or less when you consider the fees of one's portfolio. But you also must remember how much time was lost during that 15-year period. You grew it, you lost it, now you have to regrow it. Now that's being victimized by Wall Street and the two market crashes and then waiting to recover your lost gains. Now, had the same investor put $100,000 in a certificate of deposit with a compounding interest rate of 2% from 2000 to 2015, that investor's principal would have grown to $135,000 with no fees, no market loss, and no lost growth time. Now, knowing the difference between credited interest returns and gains that are vulnerable to market risk and fees can shield you from the dangers of Wall Street so you can enjoy a retirement with peace of mind. Stop losing time with Wall Street and start gaining time in your retirement.
To hear more reports that will impact your financial future, join Phil Cannella and Joanne Small this Saturday at 11 a.m. on the Crash Proof Retirement Show, only on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Listen on your schedule. Anytime. Just go to 1210 WPHT on the Odyssey app and search the Kayal and Company podcasts.
Kayal and Company, Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, Tuesday morning. Hopefully all of you having a great start to your Tuesday. Cut sheet just about 10 minutes out. 855-839-1210, the phone number. All sorts of stories to get to this morning, but so much with Donald Trump. And you'll hear more coming up in the cut sheet at 7:45 this morning. You know, I am a little bit surprised that this came as quickly as it did. I was thinking this would be right around Labor Day, but, you know, you started to get the sense in the last 4 or 5 days as we got towards the latter parts of last week that this was much more imminent and it was only a matter of days away. And then, you know, I just got to say this, too. And, Dawn, you made a great point with the word coordinated. And coordinated at so many different levels, from, you know, Alvin Bragg to this DA to that prosecutor to Willis in Atlanta. And it's just the one thing that really, like, as an American, it's just like, and I understand sometimes people make technical mistakes and you have snafus. But, you know, yesterday with this, quote, fictitious indictment being posted, and then just the way in which the world we are living, like when it comes to Trump or it comes to Republicans or it comes to conservatives, it's like, okay, well, here's our explanation, and we don't care how awful it sounds or how unbelievable it is or the fact that you're going to buy it or not. It's just like, we're going to it was fictitious. And then it gets posted, and if you actually saw what was posted online, and I think Reuters was one of the first to have it, and then you actually saw the real indictment that came out last night, it's almost identical. So, like, I just want to round back to those people and be like, well, who exactly posted this and why? Like, and what's the rush to do so? You know, it would be like, and I'll just throw out a random radio example. Greg Stalker hires Nick Kayal, and he posts the story on 1210 at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on the 1210 website. And then management's like, that's not going up until 7 o'clock. You couldn't wait 4 more hours. What's the point of that? I don't understand how that goes up, because I can't imagine it's like some intern in Fulton County's clerk's office that posted this. I got to imagine there's somebody with a degree of management or credibility that puts something up like that. And, of course, it goes up. And it's, I don't know if we would call it a leak in this day and age, but it's just embarrassing that this is going on here in the United States of America. Not in Ghana, not in some other third world slapstick nation. The United States of America. This is where we are today. It's infuriating.
Yeah, and if their site was breached, does that mean they have issues with their computers?
At least that would be somewhat of a defense. Like, okay, we were breached, we were hacked. Okay, a lot of us probably wouldn't buy that. But just their answer was, it was fictitious. It was bogus. It was fugazi. Fictitious. That's what we get.
Yeah, and we'll find out all the details of it. It's just not being reported. It's bizarre to me.
Right. Like, and that's where you hope that, like, journalism would kick back in and we would have a real press and a real media. I'm sure today when our favorite secretary goes up to the podium and gets, all the peppering of the hard questions that'll come from the ABCs and the CBSs of the world. But don't worry, the Deuce Man will be lurking, and Peter Ducey, I'm sure, will have that question ready to go, or Jackie Heinrich from Fox. And, maybe they'll grill Karine Jean-Pierre as to what she knows about that. And of course, I don't think she'll say anything, or she probably doesn't know anything, because this is a state, prosecution. This was not a federal thing. So she'll probably say, well, I would refer you to the Fulton County Clerk's office and be ready to go with that. And then yesterday, just to show you the, I guess you could say the complete opposite of, what you expect from one guy versus the other guy. And we get Joe Biden, and I feel like this is we're now immune and numb to this as well. Joe Biden gives another $200 million to Ukraine. Yet here, right now on Fox News, they just were literally a moment ago saying that the updated death total in Maui is 99 people. We know that area of Hawaii completely devastated. And I just want to tie back the story to Philadelphia and kind of loop this all together. So in Philadelphia, for poverty, you get $500. Hawaii gets completely obliterated, Maui specifically, with wildfires. And, we've seen the carnage to homes and cars and pets and everything like that. Death total of human beings. And you get $700 per household. Yet Zelensky can get an additional $200 million like that. America last. America last. So I thought that was an interesting, just looking at $200 million versus $700 a household. And I actually saw somebody on Twitter compute how many people, based on the population of Maui, the grand total at 700 a household would add up to $1.28 million, which is $198.8 million less than Ukraine just got. So.
And why hasn't Biden, has he spoken about it yet?
No comment, he said, remember?
It's right.
No comment. With Maui, no comment.
It's bizarre.
Well, he did say we'll give them all the resources they need.
Oh, that's right.
I did
hear that
or something.
Well,
so
no. I
he
think
has said something.
I think that
about
was yesterday. He said that, right?
No.
Oh, it was not. Yeah. I know initially. I thought last Thursday was the no comment. I think that was when he was on his weekend, or was that with the beach vacation still, or he was riding a bike?
He was on Rehoboth.
Yeah. He was like, no comment. Yeah.
Did he say no comment?
Yes, he did.
He did say,
yes.
Or was
the
that
words,
being,
no comment.
No,
did he?
it was no comment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let me see.
All right.
To be honest, in his defense, not that I'm trying to defend him, he probably, considering where he is mentally right now, he was probably oblivious to the fact that anything happened to Maui.
I know it was being reported that he said no comment, but I didn't actually hear him say.
Well,
no
when
comment.
he was. I think it was actually when he was going across the lawn again. Which, by the way, can we stop doing this with especially the elderly presidents like Joe Biden? Can we stop peppering somebody who is completely unconscious on his feet with questions while a massive chopper is making all sorts of noise? Like, hey, Joe, any thoughts on
Just to fact check it, initially when asked over the weekend, and it's a local story because it's Rehoboth Beach, he said whether he would go to Maui to assess the devastation. He replied, "We're looking at it." And then the next day, he said he was asked about the rising death toll on the island. He replied, "No comment."
Yeah.
And I think that's from Reuters.
Yep.
So this is not Fox or something, so he is being slammed for just being silent.
We just had the most
weird.
devastating, I believe it's statistically the most devastating wildfire in the history of the country. And he's got nothing to offer. Could you bring it back to Trump for a moment? Can you imagine if Trump said that? It's just unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, even the people in East Palestine, Ohio, feel like Hawaii's got the shaft on this when it comes to Biden. That was a joke. 855-839-1210, the number.
By the way, on the FBI and that individual that they took out.
Yeah, Craig Robertson.
Yeah. Road Warrior tweets, because I think he's a former FBI
Yes, he
agent.
is, and he rode the bike with me to the shore.
He says FBI wear body cams on warrants started in 2022.
Okay.
He says you'll never see it. Methods and tactics, whatever that means.
Okay.
And he said the reason for no-knock warrants is imminent danger to life or destroy of evidence. No life was in danger, and you can't flush a gun down a toilet or an electronic device or anything that had to do with a threat to Biden.
Mm-hmm.
Guys should have been grabbed out of the house.
So he's saying that the
saying
shooting was not necessary.
It was not the right tactic, according to Road Warrior.
Okay.
I always look at what the national news versus the local. So the local ABC affiliate there in Utah is reporting that he allegedly pointed a .357 at agents during that raid.
Yeah. Right.
That's according to their press release, but
okay.
That's the local as well as the nat. I always look for the consistency because a lot of times the local reporters do have some on the ground information.
But I think the thing about this is when you don't have the actual body cam, it's the FBI's word and their statement versus what the protocol is, what the process should be. Like Road Warrior just said, as a former, I think Road Warrior was a homicide detective, so I think he probably knows a thing or two about this stuff. And with the recent, and this is where history and precedent matters, because if anything, we have seen over the last handful of years just how untrustworthy the FBI can be. So, and then when all of a sudden it's a Trump supporter, everybody's like, I wonder how that really actually played out. All right, 7:45, right on the dot. Let's get to a Tuesday edition of Greg Stocker's What's on the Cut Sheet.
What's on the cut sheet?
Well, what's on the cut sheet on this Tuesday is brought to you by our good friends at Cherry Hill Volvo, where they have ample inventory of brand new and beautiful pre-owned Volvos. Enjoy the luxury experience you deserve. They always go the extra mile for their customers because relationships matter at Cherry Hill Volvo. Check them out over 70 in Cherry Hill. Judith, Yosef, all of our friends at Cherry Hill Volvo. Tell them you heard about them on 1210 WPHT. Well, I took the cut sheet that I sent to you guys yesterday.
And you burned it.
And I threw it right out the window.
Welcome to my big take.
So much has happened. Yeah, so much has happened and transpired since we put the show on ice last night.
Yep.
So last night, Fonnie Willis gave a press conference in Georgia and was asked about the fictitious Trump indictment that was posted online earlier last evening. And this is what she said on that.
According to the Fulton County Clerk's Office that was circulated online with charges against former President Donald Trump, that fictitious document matched exactly the charges that we now see in this indictment. Can you tell us more about that document leak? Because now you have the former president's lawyers who are saying that this is emblematic of a serious problem with your office.
No, I can't tell you anything about what you refer to. What I can tell you is that we had a grand jury here in Fulton County. They deliberated till almost 8 o'clock, if not right after 8 o'clock. An indictment was returned. It was true billed, and you now have an indictment. I am not an expert on clerks' duties or even administrative duties. I wouldn't know how to work that system, and so I'm not going to speculate. Next question.
Have you had next question?
Next question. She'll be the future White House press secretary in a few years if the legal thing doesn't work out. So she's not an expert. She can't really speak about the clerical aspect or the administrative duties of people in her own stinking office. And this was, again, and this is not my opinion. This is not me, blowing a gasket. This is what Jonathan Turley had to say, that he can't comprehend how this was drafted, much less posted, if the grand jury was still deliberating. So you have a document already created, basically on ice in the chamber, before it's officially done with the individuals. If that doesn't lead people to say, I smell BS, something's fishy, I call shenanigans, I don't know what else will. But then again, I don't have Trump derangement syndrome.
Now, that clerk is newly sworn in, so I don't know if this is somebody who made a sort of a rookie mistake, that they had this mock kind of. And by the way, it did have a document number on it.
I read the case number in the big take.
But then it was different then. So
Okay.
Was that like a phony? So they had the whole thing like a mock.
So they had the template made, basically, and then you just had a copy and paste job. It's like Alvin Bragg's indictment, where it was copy and paste charge 1, copy and paste charge 12, copy and paste charge 33. It makes you sit here and point out the authenticity of the system. And I think that's what a lot of people are. I think there are actually a decent amount of Trump supporters out there that would say, if he's a criminal and he did something wrong, he needs to be held accountable, and then we'll go to plan B. But when this stuff pops up, this is what people are talking about. And yet there are some on the left that just deny it and act like it's not a thing, which is unfathomable to me, because I try to be as objective as like if I'm getting slapped in the face with something, sooner or later I'm going to be like, you know what? I'm getting slapped in the face with something. But some of these people don't see it that way.
Last night, all the cable news channels went wall-to-wall with this. Brett Baer, piggybacking off of what you were saying, Nick, saying some people who are not ready to to not vote for Trump are becoming sympathetic to him. To that point, Nick Kayal.
Okay.
Brett Baer.
There's a lot of that, Trace. A lot of Trump supporters who are more fired up because of this. They think that the Biden administration, Democrats are going after him for a specific reason because he's the guy that can really shake things up. You still hear some of the other candidates making the case, and effectively in some circles, that, hey, listen, I like Trump policies as much as the next guy, but you don't have to have the chaos and the baggage. But more and more you're hearing people in the middle of the road who were ready to not vote for Trump saying, wait a second, I'm sympathetic to this guy because they're giving him enough charges to put him away for 1,000 years. Why is that? And what do these cases look like? And when some people dissect them, they don't see as much there. There's two sides of the coin to look at this. I do think it's tough in a general election to imagine that independent voters and suburban women are going to look highly on all these charges and indictments, but we'll see how this plays out. It's going to play out real time in a surreal way during this entire election.
It's not a matter of if some of those on the fence are now starting to see and sway towards Trump. It's a matter of how many. Because when we talk about the election and we talk about swing states and you talk about 4 potential states that could determine the election, how many specific people, is it enough for him to win those battleground states to ultimately get enough votes for the Electoral College? My guess is that at this moment, and I've been consistent with this, it is not, but every day it seems to inch closer in his favor. But then again, it's a poll and it's 14 months from an election.
Navy Prepper on the YouTube chat says Fox is trying to woo him to the debate. It's a very good point.
They desperately could use him.
Can you imagine after now? I would throw I would pay him to be on
Can you
the
imagine
stage.
Can you imagine Trump now if he comes out and he says, I wasn't going to do it. I didn't have to.
Yeah.
But Fulton County, thank you for giving me the motivation. I will be there. I'm telling you. It'll be great.
By the way, streaming live right now on YouTube, youtube.com/@1210WPHT. Please hit the like button. We're at 92 likes. I want to get to 100 likes. So 8 people, please like the stream right now. Also, if you have not done so, please subscribe. We're at 4,233. I would like to take that up to 3,000 or 4,240. So if we can get some more subscribers, that would be great too. Former talk show host and political pundit, member of the Clinton administration, Dick Morris, was on Newsmax. I believe it was Newsmax last night. And his prediction is that Trump is going to go to prison and he will be elected president in prison. Dick Morris from last night on Newsmax.
Let's just fast forward a touch. What's going to happen is that Trump is indicted.
By the way, let me just say this. Listen to that voice. Can you imagine the person that thought it was a good idea to make him a talk show host?
Here on WPHT?
Here on WPHT.
You know, I've had some dinners with some of the higher ups, and I've heard the story.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Foot fetish.
Former program director here, who I love, but was very blinded by Dick Morris.
Richard
Morris, and thought that he was going to get a 27 chair. That didn't happen. He lasted 13 months here.
Well, hell, I'd love a 27 myself, but it's just not going to happen.
All right, I'm going to start this clip over, Daniel.
Let's just fast forward a touch. What's going to happen is that Trump is indicted now in Fulton County and in Washington, D.C., and he's going to be convicted. There's going to be a biased jury pool. We already know there's a biased prosecutor. In Washington County, the Washington, D.C., Hunter Biden's law partner is the judge, and he's going to go to prison, and he will be elected from prison president. It will not make any difference at all. He is going to be able to win this election no matter what they throw at him.
You think he's actually going to prison?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. I'm hoping that the appeals courts can see through all this nonsense, but
Well,
that's a bold prediction.
They let him out.
Yeah.
But and the question is, can it get to the Supreme Court in time? But clearly, the juries are going to convict him.
Well, that'll make for an interesting big take if Trump is actually behind bars.
I said this.
Yeah.
I said this weeks ago.
You did.
I said he's going to be convicted of something. There's too many counts.
We live in a snapshot world because we have a short attention span, and everything is a GIF, a Vine, a meme, a photo, a selfie. if there is ever a picture of Donald Trump in a jumpsuit or behind bars, that will be the most circulated, distributed, and shared picture in the history of the internet.
Agreed.
There's my analysis.
Okay, thank you.
I figured I'd offer something different than when Richard would do.
I mean,
because we gave you the breakdown earlier. I mean, if he's convicted at the state level in Georgia, yes, he could still run for president. Yes, he could still get elected. But we told you about the lack of being able to pardon himself. So there's your legal angle. Which
I mean, then it could go to the Supreme Court.
Right.
Right.
This thing's going to get real convoluted, real muddy.
I believe even state cases. I know he can't pardon himself, but I know state cases can still go to the Supreme Court, right?
Yeah. Yeah, most cases start out at a local level. They go through all the different appeals process, district court, superior court, state Supreme Court, and the United States Supreme Court only selects and hears a very, very small percentage of the cases that try to get before those justices.
All right, let's put it all out there. I want to hear from each one of you.
Okay.
Do you believe he will be convicted of something?
Yes.
Dawn?
Of something? Out of 4 cases, nearly 100 charges, it's like throwing spaghetti at the wall. So will one piece of spaghetti stick? Perhaps.
Will he go to jail?
No.
Will he go to jail?
As that's what we were in the car when my kids said, is anybody going out of jail, meaning the Biden family? I said, no. None of these rich, wealthy, powerful people, none of them are going to jail. They're not going to jail.
Except Trump's a Republican and
Doesn't
he's a
matter.
Republican outsider.
None of them are going to jail.
I mean, first of all.
So my question is, so how does he
It's
get?
not happening.
So how do we get the conviction without jail time?
Well, let's take
because he's not taking. He's not going to take a plea.
Well, let's take the jail part out of it because in everybody's mind it's like clank and he's sitting there with a tin can. That's not like these are white collar crimes.
Right.
He could be in like house arrest or whatever. You know what I mean? Like so let's take the thought of jail out of our minds. Now, Dawn, do you think he will go to quote unquote jail?
No, because they'll do a deal. They'll do a plea deal. All these uber wealthy, powerful people, whether it's the Bidens or the Trumps or any of these individuals, they'll do a deal. They have a ton of lawyers. They have a ton of money and power. And no.
Which is interesting because he has said, as recent as this past weekend in Iowa, that he will not take a deal. So it's either found not guilty or convicted, in his words.
Yeah. Well, when you're there and you're in that situation, the lawyers will negotiate, and there will be, because they want some kind of a deal. Will there be a deal on one of these? Sure, but the vast majority of what are we talking about? In total, 96 charges. It's gross. This is gross.
I'm surprised, honestly, with the arrogance of this administration and some of these agencies. Based on things like words like fictitious and sweetheart deals and David Weiss and all this nonsense. I'm surprised we have not heard of any type of scuttlebutt of, charges will be dropped if you drop out of the race. I mean, it would be so arrogant for that to be leaked, but it would be on brand with like, we're not lying. Yeah, we'll drop the charges, drop out of the race.
Yeah, Navy. Well, that is when you brought up how it would work that neither Trump nor Biden were the nominees. I was going off of a piece written by somebody who said something to the effect of, Joe Biden will offer to pardon Trump if he gets out of the race or something like that. I'm not saying I think that's how it's going to play out.
Yeah.
But that was the whole premise of that theory, was that Joe Biden was going to make some sort of deal where he would pardon Donald Trump. Well, he can't pardon him from the Georgia thing.
Right.
So that whole theory gets thrown out the window. But he would pardon Donald Trump of all the federal charges, and then in exchange he wouldn't run for president.
I'd love to hear Dershowitz's opinion on some of these will he be in jail type stuff. Like,
no, none of them. Fauci won't go to jail either.
Oh, of course not.
Fauci.
Yeah.
But here's the problem when you look at this. You have Biden and you have Hunter Biden and the Biden family, then you have Trump and the Trump family, Fauci. So ultimately the American people look at all this hot mess, then look at the economy, everybody's hurting. And so on one hand, I could see a scenario by which people say, you know what, they group everything together and say, I'm sick and tired of all of this, because they see in the headlines all this alleged corruption and family crime. I'm not convicting anybody here. I'm just saying, if you look at the big picture, that people say, I'm sick of it. I want a fresh new face and somebody who seems honest and who seems like they're going to care about the American people and solve all the problems. But the other thing I'll propose to you is the old saying, be careful of what you wish for. So with the Trump team, for Trump, and I heard one estimate that he has spent of his own money, not fundraising, $100 million. That's what we're looking at. And that, like you said, he's willing to say, no, you know what? I'm digging in. I've got the cash. I'm a wealthy man, and I'm going to expose the swamp, and I'm fighting this thing, which is what they're counting. Like Mark Houck. Remember Mark Houck here in Bucks County?
Yeah.
And they counted on him taking a plea deal.
Yep.
And they shackled him to the desk, and this is a respectable minister, father, and our Christian man. And he looked up and said, no, I'm fighting it. They never expected Mark Houck to do that.
Yeah.
And what did he do? He was here. We can walk to the federal courthouse, and guess what? Even the judge kept saying to the prosecutors, basically saying, really?
Well,
this is all you've got?
This is precisely why I disagreed with you on Trump taking a deal with what his. I don't think he cares what his lawyers have to say. He's got the ego. He's got the money. He's a fighter. He's not going to give up. I do not believe. I would be. I don't know what would surprise me more: Trump taking a plea or Joe Biden never being charged.
But ultimately, when you are in that spot and the lawyers say to you, this is in Trump, an owner of casinos and hotels.
Yes,
here are the odds.
A bad gamble.
Yeah. And so you're looking at 96 plus charges, and in all, and I'm talking about all the different cases. And these three, there's a chance, and you've got this and that and the other. So they could come to this could be a conviction, and this could be. Let's look at the odds of everything. But I will say this. At the end of the day, be careful what you wish for, because now, in this case, Trump and his attorneys have subpoena power. And imagine if now they can subpoena everybody in Georgia or in these different states, right? Yep. And if they can prove one iota of, if they say, we want to subpoena all of this and we want to look at what was happening in, let's say, all these different counties, if they can prove that there was any breach of integrity with regard to election integrity, now that will be bigger than any of this.
How do you factor in age here if you're Trump from his thought process? Because I think there's two different schools of thought. One, it's, well, I'm 77. I don't want to serve a day in prison. I'm pretty old. And then there's two, well, if I do go to prison, I'm 77. And if I'm going to prison on any of these charges, I think odds are I'll probably die in prison. So do you say, like, you know what? Well, if I'm going to go, it's going to be the end of me anyway. So what the hell? Let's roll the dice.
No, I don't think he's rolling any dice. I think that when you're in that spot and you have a team of attorneys and you're talking to them and you're looking at everything on the table, it's a game. It becomes a game, and you're looking at all of the odds. So they can tell him for sure, and right now they're going to fight. They're going to say Fulton County they've exposed themselves. They released an indictment before the witnesses testified. They look at what they did online. Now others will say this was a clerical error and they released something too soon. Yeah. And of course they had written something up. That's not unusual. But for the play of the media and so on and so forth, and for his attorneys, they're going to come out right out of the bat and say, throw this out. It just shows a breach right within the Fulton County Prosecutor's Office. But I don't think that he's rolling any dice. That's not what's happening here. Yeah. In his career, he has never, and this is a guy who built businesses. He actually built things. He's not a hedge fund guy, right? He's a person who built tangible businesses and hired a ton of people, and he did not gamble with it. He knew all of the odds and how much it's going to cost him. He's calculating every single step. And as far as age, I think he is not someone who thinks about his age. You know why? Because, first of all, he is somebody, You watch some of these rallies. He goes on for 2 hours.
I know, it's unbelievable.
Off the top of his head, he is sharp as a tack. He is high energy, and the guy doesn't drink. He doesn't go home and pass out. The guy, his mind is always going.
Yeah. It's the opposite of me.
Navy Prepper on the YouTube chat. I'm going back to the whether he'll serve jail time or not. Navy Prepper says no. As a protectee, the Secret Service would take over the prison. It's federal law. Well, that's the other thing. They can't put him in just some lockup.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
It's not going to Montgomery County Prison.
Exactly. So, yeah, it's just I could see somebody else in the chat says he will be convicted, but he won't. But he will be elected because people will see how a president can serve.
And there's also so
jail.
many different things that conflict with each other. We got the one poll that says Americans are tired of Biden versus Trump. They're exhausted from it. Yet we also get every time Trump's indicted, his polling numbers go up. And then we gave you that study last week that Americans are numb to scandals, and it has little to no impact on their voting decision. So if we're numb to scandals and it has no impact on who you vote for, then how do we take the middle group of people, undecided, if there are any of them still out there alive that are left, and swing it one way or the other, pro-Trump? Or it can't be we're numb to it, immune to it, and it has no impact, yet come back and say, well, actually, you know what, now it's worse for Trump or it's better for Trump. But then again, these are all polls, and you can find any type of poll you want to make yourself feel better about.
I just flipped through every every channel.
I saw you doing that.
And all of them, Trump,
Yeah.
indicted, Trump. So I do think there is a burnout to a degree with people go, here we go again.
But we'll get through this. We're going to have the primary debate in 8 days, and then there's no other indictments on the precipice, correct? Not that I know of, anyway. So this will eventually, flame out a little bit, and we'll move on to something else Trump related. I'm not saying Trump's going to just go to the back burner, but.
By the way, it's August 15th.
Yes.
This happened late last night. People are waking up this morning. People are taking last-minute vacations before school starts. It's it's the second week in August in the summer. A lot of people are off. No, there's not a lot of people paying attention to this like we are, or they just see a headline and so that numb factor. I do agree with you. I think that it's just the hardcores are going to be here and be like Trump is innocent, and the other hardcores on the other side would be like Trump is guilty, and they'll just argue back and forth. And the American people will go on and just be like,
it's Groundhog's Day.
This is like, and to Dawn's point, is there fatigue in that? I think there is.
Yeah.
I think there is.
Yeah.
There's
fatigue. I think everybody's fatigued. Even as a talk show host, and look, anytime, great content comes out, it's a gift from the radio gods. But, there are times when you talk about this stuff every single day where it becomes monotonous. And my challenge and my task is to try to find a different angle each. That's why I wanted to bring the TV angle in and the cameras. I'm not just going to keep wailing away on. If I'm sitting here reading a RICO statute on the radio, I would rather stick a steak knife in my gullet.
Joe Rowe on the YouTube chat says, why does Governor Kemp not just pardon him before he goes on the trail? He will be the front runner for 2028 if he does it.
I don't believe Trump and Kemp are on the best of terms.
Yeah, I don't know.
I believe going back for the last 3.5 years, I don't know that Brian Kemp, the Republican governor of Georgia, and Trump are necessarily besties. Put it that way.
By the way, if you're watching right now, please hit the like button. 125 likes. Now I want to get to 200 because I'm very greedy.
Yes, you
very,
are.
very greedy.
And by the way, on the Brian Kemp front, don't rule him out in the future. He doesn't get the hype DeSantis did as a governor.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, don't rule him out.
CNN also had wall-to-wall coverage last night. Van Jones commenting on the Fulton County DA throwing the library, not just the book, throwing the library at Trump.
Love Van Phillips.
Van Jones.
She didn't throw the book at him. She threw the library. I think the difference between her approach and Jack Smith's approach is really night and day. Jack Smith said, there's a bunch of bad actors here. I'm going after one person, Donald Trump. I'm going to be very, very narrow. She went after, 18 other people. It's a very different approach. Also, Jack Smith says hands off Mark Meadows, which signals that Mark Meadows, despite being, corrupt and horrible, is cooperating. She puts her hands on Mark Meadows in this. So you got a very different player that just stepped on the field with a very different playbook and a very different sense of what justice looks like. And I think, the people I'm hearing from are very, very proud because, this RICO stuff, conspiracy stuff, you got kids in neighborhoods across this country that have gone to jail on RICO charges, conspiracy charges. You got kids in jail who were standing outside of a convenience store. Their friend went inside, did something stupid, and now everybody they know is in jail. So we're very familiar with the book, the library, half of Amazon.com being thrown at us when somebody does something wrong. And so this is actually what justice looks like. If you say you don't want a two-tier justice system, this is what not having a two-tier justice system looks like. You have an aggressive prosecutor. She's going after you, everybody you know, and she's not messing around. So this is a very different prosecutor and a very different playbook than you saw with Jack Smith.
If you think this case is evidence that there's not a two-tier justice system, then you're as clueless as Van Jones, Van Phillips, Abby Phillips, and everybody else on CNN. But I would say, and Stalker, you mentioned this about Mark Meadows being the guy that's going to flip. You heard there him say, we're going to leave Mr. Meadows out of it. I had a flashback to Denzel Washington in Training Day when they're getting ready to raid Rogers' house, and he says, "Hands off of the rover. Do not shoot the undercover guy that is tipping us off to everything we have." But he is right from the standpoint of exactly what Jonathan Turley is claiming. This is every call, every speech, every tweet, every individual actor appears to be a criminal step in the conspiracy. And Willis is pretty much, like Dawn said, throwing out the whole batch of pasta. And if a couple of noodles stick, so be it. Which now I'm having flashbacks to that pasta dump in Jersey from months ago.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
That story just disappeared.
Rachel Maddow had Hillary Clinton on last night. Apparently it was not, they didn't know this was going to come down. She was coming on to discuss some op-ed she wrote about.
Book deal.
Some op-ed she wrote about loneliness or something. I don't know. Rachel Maddow says to Hillary Clinton, if bad actors tell us falsely that every election is stolen and that the only way an election is trustworthy is that they come out on top of it, is to tell you something not just about the person, but it wounds us as a democracy in the way that's hard to repair. That's from Rachel Maddow. Here's that exchange from last night.
That the system of democracy at its heart is the idea that the people get to decide how we are governed. And if we no longer believe that our will is effectuated through the system, if bad actors tell us falsely that every election is stolen and that the only way an election is trustworthy is if they come out on top of it, then something, it tells you something not just about that person or that moment. It maybe wounds us as a democracy in a way that is hard to repair. What do you think about how we get better after the wounds that have been inflicted on us through this process?
Well, I think, the truth matters. I think having these cases be brought in such professional manners, we'll see how they unfold. Obviously, the trials, if there are trials, are going to be critically important. But the article you mentioned that I published about the weaponization of loneliness really does, in my view, point to the larger cultural concerns, because the lack of trust, the divisiveness, the undermining of faith in ourselves, in each other, respect for our institutions, the rule of law, all of that has been deliberately inculcated within our body politic.
So in the beginning, she talks about, the people dictating the way we are governed and ruled upon, which is very fascinating because for the last 3.5 years, it feels like it hasn't been up to us. It's been the government telling us, no, you need to wear this mask, or you have to get this shot, or you have to stay out of school, or you can't go to your church or anything. And then it's a fascinating concept playing off of that, the idea of loneliness, which, the pandemic only created loneliness and isolation and issues. But I'm just so tired of the democracy word from the left. Going back to the elections, and we've given you the audio montage. We have a 10-minute clip. We have a 24-minute clip of Democrat after Democrat denying elections and using words like illegitimate president. It's just here. God almighty, just go away, Hillary.
Well, here's Hillary Clinton saying the election was stolen from her.
Here we go.
I think it's also critical to understand that, as I've been telling candidates who have come to see me, you can run the best campaign, you can even become the nominee, and you can have the election stolen from you.
There you go. There's your proof.
No mincing of words, folks. This isn't Republicans twisting and manipulating and taking things out of context. Stolen from her lips to your ears. Trump says it, indicted. Hillary says it. Sometimes ballot machines break down. It's an imperfect world. Screws fall out, Bender.
What?
That was a Breakfast Club line.
Hillary Clinton and Rachel Maddow appear gleeful. So this happened right before the indictment came down. They seem very gleeful about this.
Is the former Democratic presidential nominee, U.S. Senator from New York and Secretary of State. I should tell you she has a new essay out in The Atlantic on the well-being of Americans and our democracy. It's called The Weaponization of Loneliness. Madam Secretary, fancy meeting you here.
I can't believe this.
Yeah, this is not the circumstances in which I expected to be talking to you.
Nor me, Rachel. It's always good to talk to you, but honestly, I didn't think that it would be under these circumstances. Yet another set of indictments.
This is something, this is becoming like a skill set. Like in the news business, you say like, oh, I've covered Olympics or I've covered a campaign. Now it's, those of us who've covered 4 indictments. I don't know if 4 is it. We don't know if Donald Trump is among those indicted this evening, but all expectations are that he will be.
There you go.
How much, by the way, always great to read The Atlantic, always great to hear Hillary's voice, see her hair, the whole bit. How much do you think she, behind closed doors, hates her life? I mean, hates Bill Clinton, hates the fact that she lost to an outsider. I mean, I know she puts on a smile there and the whole bit. I got to imagine that she wakes up every day hating her existence. I would if it was me.
Well,
that's just me.
I wish that Rachel had said, "Are you lonely, Hillary?"
Can you stick around and talk to Joy? She's coming up next. I don't know who was more excited, the two of them or the young lady in the big take that I played for you this morning. She was like, yeah, I think it'd be really awesome to
we have to play
Can we do a compare and contrast of the end of, we'll take the end of Rachel and Hillary yucking it up.
Okay.
And we'll take the little, I think it's a 19-second snippet of our little, she almost looks like Greta Thunberg.
Hang on. I have to.
Be nice to see who takes more joy in these. Then we can find Joy Behar, and we can just grab all the talking heads that do backflips over every time Trump suffers a brush burn on his knee, and we can compare and contrast just how excited they are.
All right, here's Hillary and Rachel.
Okay.
Set of indictments.
This is something, this is becoming like a skill set. Like in the news business, you say like, oh, I've covered Olympics or I've covered a campaign. Now it's, those of us who've covered 4 indictments. I don't know if 4 is it. We don't know if Donald Trump is among those indicted this evening, but all expectations are that he will be.
All right, that was a bad example. Let's go to the beginning of this.
Yeah,
The Democratic presidential nominee, U.S. Senator from New York and Secretary of State. I should tell you she has a new essay out in The Atlantic on the well-being of Americans and our democracy. It's called The Weaponization of Loneliness. Madam Secretary, fancy meeting you here.
I can't believe this.
Yeah, this is...
Oh, man.
And then
one of the grand jurors for the Georgia case with Trump. This was from a while ago.
Did you personally want to hear from the former president? I wanted to hear from the former president, but honestly, I kind of wanted to subpoena the former president because I got to swear everybody in. And so I thought it'd be really cool to get 60 seconds with President Trump of me looking at him and being like, do you solemnly swear? And me getting to swear him in. I kind of just thought that would be an awesome moment.
I got this stuff. He's so cool. It's like seeing Justin Bieber and Hillary Duff at the same time. So super cool. God almighty. This is our country.
Hillary Clinton would like you to know that she takes no satisfaction out of this whatsoever.
Of course not.
Only that the system, the justice system,
trust the process.
You feel satisfaction in that? You warned the country, essentially, that he was going to try to end democracy, but most of the country didn't believe you.
Well, it's hard to believe. I don't feel any satisfaction. I feel great, just great, profound sadness that we have a former president who has been indicted for so many charges that went right to the heart of whether or not our democracy would survive. And we don't know yet what the charges coming out of Georgia are, but if you stop and think about what the public evidence is, and you've been talking about some of that for the last hour, he set out to defraud the United States of America and the citizens of our nation. He used tactics of harassment, intimidation. He made threats. He and his allies went after state officials, local officials responsible for conducting elections. Now we know they even went into voting machines in order to, determine whether or not those voting machines had somehow been breached when they were the ones actually doing the breaching.
So if I could just ask Hillary Clinton one question in this lifetime, it would be the most simple question of all time. Hillary, you are on record stating Trump stole the 2016 election.
Yes.
Donald Trump is on record saying that Joe Biden and the Democrats stole the 2020 election. Could you explain the difference in those two statements and why one is viewed so toxic and poisonous and it's basically taboo to discuss, yet it's free range, a la carte, you can say it and you just skip around gleefully? Could you please answer that, former Secretary of State, Ms. Clinton?
Patrick writes on the YouTube chat. By the way, we're like 50 likes away from 200, so if you're watching right now, please hit the like button. I want to get to 200 likes in this segment, so do it now. Patrick writes, you guys are making me want to break my phone. I will hold you liable if I do, because we're playing all of these Hillary clips. Look, I'm just playing. The whole point of this is to play what's happening and for you guys to comment on it.
Yeah, so. Can we play some TikTok people having meltdowns?
No.
Would you rather that, sir?
Yeah.
Would that make you happy?
Will that make you happy, Fred? Will it? Hit that like button, please, right now. Let's go to some of the clips that I was planning on doing, starting at 7:45. Only 30 minutes later. The FEMA director or administrator Deanna Criswell was on with Karine Jean-Pierre yesterday talking about what happened in Hawaii. And a reporter asked FEMA's Criswell if Biden will visit Hawaii or not. This is cut 7, Daniel.
Is it possible for the president to visit without interfering with the rescue effort?
Right now, our focus is on making sure that we are doing everything we can to account for everybody that has been unaccounted for. And the president has given me the space to make sure I'm bringing in all of the appropriate federal personnel and resources to do that. And so we will continue to do that right now. We want to make sure that they have, all of the resources and the space that they need and not disrupt operations right now.
So no visit by the president is on schedule at this moment?
At this point, we just want to make sure that we are working to help this community identify everybody that's missing, and we need to stay focused on that right now.
If you're wondering, if you're not watching right now on YouTube, she's there via satellite or whatever.
Remote. Yep.
That's why her audio stinks.
So the question was asked twice, and she did not answer it directly either time. So no, Joe has no plans to go visit Hawaii because he gave each household directly affected in Maui $700. He's got other things to do, like be on vacation. 39.7% of his presidency. It's a hell of a vacation plan, by the way.
FEMA Administrator Deanne Criswell wants to make sure the rescue efforts and communication in Hawaii are culturally responsive. Cut 6.
We also want to make sure that we are getting all of the appropriate information out to survivors. So we are working with our state and local partners to ensure that our outreach and our messaging is also culturally responsive and that we can get messages out to people so they know what is available to them.
We need to make sure that our response times and measures are diverse, they are equitable, they are inclusive, they are welcome to all people and all lifestyles.
I mean, that's basically what she's saying, right?
Like, what is that?
Yeah.
So even the talking points have even infiltrated FEMA. Yeah. Like, your house just got melted to a crisp. Like this lady's giving that verbiage to you.
Yep.
I'd move to Oklahoma immediately.
A reporter also asked KJP on Joe Biden visiting Hawaii, Maui, and this is what she said, cut 5.
Does he want to travel there eventually to survey the damage and meet survivors?
So obviously I don't have anything to announce at this time. Look, we're going to continue to have conversations with the administrator, certainly the governor in Hawaii, on what the opportunities might be, what that may look like for a trip. But right now we just don't have anything to share.
You know who she is? It just dawned upon me, no pun intended. We've all had that person in the workplace that has meetings, that sends out emails that, you try to pin down and get an answer out of, and they just talk, what's the word, tautological in circles, and they've mastered the ability of spin and just give you all the company rhetoric, and yet it's like, what's the answer? Yeah. And you don't ever get the answer. And then if you press them on it, then you're the bad guy. We've all had that person in our line of professional work, and that's her.
Is she the worst communicator, do you think?
Yes, and sadly, she will have a talk show probably by 2025. That's the path. You take the Psaki path.
Because she said this about the wildfires in Hawaii. This is cut 4, Daniel.
To support the people on the ground. It's been a devastation, as we have seen. You just mentioned the loss of life.
Devastation.
The loss of life, not the loss of life, the loss of life.
Devastation.
Yes, far be it for me to correct Karine. I've invented words on this show that don't even exist in the English vocabulary when I've been on a tangent from time to time. But yeah, she's not there for her communication skills. She's there for appearance sakes.
It shows you how much of this matters to them. They can't even pronounce the senators in Hawaii's name. Senator Mazie Hirono is a female. This is cut 3.
Senator Hirono, who I said the president spoke to just last night, he thanked the president for the immediate support of federal agencies have delivered for residents of Hawaii.
Hold on, stop the tape. We have a pronoun error.
Uh-oh.
He.
Yes, I know.
No, it's a she.
Yep.
Uh-oh.
That could be that could be a fireable offense in the workplace if you get my pronouns wrong.
Violation.
Oh no.
That was Kamala.
Yeah. Let me start that over again because it's just the mispronouncing, the misgendering, and then trying to say Brian Schatz's name is just amazing.
Senator Hirono, who I said the president spoke to just last night, he thanked the president for the immediate support of federal agencies have delivered for residents of Hawaii, and so has Senator Shorts.
I shorted my shorts. I shat myself.
Shot in shorts.
I had the chicken and a beef taco last night at Bluestone Country Club after a round of golf, and I shat my golf shorts. Shat. It was short. It was a short night. We had a short putt, but I shat it. I shanked my tee shot. That's a promo there. Pull that, boys.
Of course, you're talking about Brian Schatz.
Yes. Right, not Brian Stelter, Brian Schatz.
For all the people who are wondering.
Right.
When will Joe Biden call the families of the wildfire victims? Cut 2.
Aside from the statement from the president, has President Biden spoken to any family members of wildfire victims or plans to in the future?
I don't have any calls to speak to at this time.
I don't have any calls to speak to.
I would say there are actually no, sir, they're shot out of luck. What an administration. Honestly, if you have nothing, just don't even show up.
Yep.
It's like you get to it. Like I remember there was days where I was doing sports talk radio, and it was February. It was 10 days after the Super Bowl, and it was a Wednesday. And I knew I had Thursday, and I had nothing to talk about. And I was going to just waste my time. I'd use a day off. I'm going to take today off. Yeah, put in a fill-in guy. I got nothing to say today. That's what she has every single day. She goes up there with nothing.
You would take days off when you had nothing to say?
Occasionally. I mean, that's why I'm out of sports, man. It's a grind. Telling you, brother.
Interesting.
You try talking Jalen Hurts 24/7.
I don't want to.
Exactly.
That's why I do this and not that.
That's why I talk Trump 24/7 now. A little easier.
By the way, we're 23 likes away.
Come on, people.
23 likes away from 200. So if you're watching right now, YouTube.com/@1210WPHT.
Get your shat in order.
Get over there and comment along, hit the like button, and hit the subscribe button. I want to play this. This was actually going to be the crux of the cut sheet this morning. without, before the Trump indictment came down from Georgia. Mike Pence, former vice president, was on with Chuck Todd on Meet the Press on Sunday.
Oh, that was riveting.
And he asked him if he's still a MAGA Republican. And Pence dodges on this question. And I have a question for both of you after this. Cut 10.
Car.
Do you consider yourself a MAGA Republican?
I'm incredibly proud of what we did in the Trump-Pence administration for 4 years, and you better believe it. In those 4 years, after 8 years of the slowest recovery since the Great Depression, 8 years under Barack Obama and Joe Biden that saw military cuts that hollowed out our military, 8 years of liberals on our courts. Under the Trump-Pence administration, with the support of MAGA Americans, we literally did make America great again.
Do you feel like you're a MAGA Republican or not?
That pandemic struck, and look, I'm a Christian, a conservative, and a Republican in that order. I've always said that.
Yeah.
People who know me know those are my values, those are my ideals, and I really believe that the agenda that I've always been about, that I'm looking forward to taking to that debate stage, is the agenda that'll bring this country all the way back.
There he ducks the question, but I felt like in the beginning, the first time around, he was slightly more direct in answering it. And again, if my reading of it the first time around is correct, then that should also kind of put an end to some of the negative connotations to the MAGA slogan. I mean, the haters want to sit there and say, "Oh, the red hat and the Trump thing." But can we hear the beginning of that again? I'd like to hear the way he framed it the first time, because I actually didn't have a problem with it the first time. The second time was a little passive aggressive.
Yep. Do you consider yourself a MAGA Republican?
I'm incredibly proud of what we did in the Trump-Pence administration
All right,
for
stop
4
it right
years.
there. So you could say it is what it claims to be: make America great again. And peace, prosperity. Dawn, you have said it. And even the people that are exhausted by Trump that love the policies will sit there and tell you, you know what, for those first 3 years, despite the, social media and the media and all the hackery going after the guy, from a look, everybody's 401k was great. The economy was fine. Gas prices, energy, no wars. I mean, so in many regards, big picture, you can argue that they delivered upon that message in many facets. You might not have liked the person. You might not have voted for the guy. And there might have been a lot of nonsense that came along with it baggage-wise. But, generally speaking, and I'm not saying he delivered on every promise, but you can find him online what he did follow through with that he said he would, and he was pretty good.
Do you think, I'm going to ask both of you this, do you think Mike Pence is a MAGA Republican?
No.
No.
I think he hates Trump now, obviously. He might have hated Trump all along.
All right, okay. Let me ask you this. This is a fascinating, what you just said is fascinating. Is there MAGA without Trump?
Well, I mean, what's DeSantis' slogan? He's tried to rebrand it, and it's a copyright job, in my opinion, of what is DeSantis? I don't even know what DeSantis is. I thought I had it memorized. It's declines a choice. Anyway, having a Joe Biden moment. What was the question? My brain just I gotta have a brain shark. Hold on a second. Let me get Joe here.
Awesome.
Joe, are you here there, Joe?
Anyway. Does the MAGA movement exist without Trump?
I think. Well, the movement, the ferocity, the fanfare, the love for the guy. I don't think you're ever going to see another Republican loved by Republicans and conservatives like him. But I think
not my question.
I think it can. For what I think the meaning of MAGA means, I think it can. It's American exceptionalism rebranded, right?
He did not create the MAGA movement. He answered it. He did not create it. It existed.
I like the way you framed that. He did. Because a lot of people wanted that, and he just, he ran with it.
So the answer is yes. MAGA,
I believe
MAGA
so, yes.
Republicans exist without Trump. So why couldn't Mike Pence? I'm not saying he is. I'm playing devil's advocate here. That's all I'm doing.
The closest thing you're going to get to a MAGA Republican is DeSantis.
Is he a MAGA Republican? That's another great, great question.
But can you be against See, here's the thing. These guys are all running against him. So at the entry level, it's no. Like, you can't be trying like Chris Christie or anybody else on the Republican side. The only guy right now, I'll actually take that back with DeSantis.
Yeah.
The only guy that maybe is MAGA is Ramaswamy.
Yeah.
Because he's the only guy that hasn't gotten into the ring and taken a swipe at Trump. He actually just put out a tweet last night defending Trump again.
James Angst on YouTube says not in this election. So it can't be. I just think that regardless of...
Which is why Ron probably should have waited till 28, because he wouldn't have been disloyal and he could have had that base in 5 years.
Regardless of Trump or not, the MAGA movement is here, and it's here to stay. Yeah. So to say that it only exists with Trump is foolish. You know what I mean? Somebody has to take that mantle, right?
Depends on how you look at it. Are we at a point where his blueprint or his level of going so far to one end of the spectrum is unelectable moving forward? I mean, what are some of the big issues that are working against Republicans moving forward? Roe v. Wade and a few other things. Until you figure that out, you might continue to lose. So I don't think it's as simple as just saying, yes, of course. Like, there's a lot of, I hate to be the guy who says there's a lot of nuance to it, but there actually really is.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think that
it's a great question though. You pose.
But I think I think the answer is that it's backwards. In other words, there was a void that you had a huge group of Americans, some of them not traditionally Republicans, who felt that they did not have leadership, who felt that there was a media bias, and also felt and feel there's a bias within our justice system.
We're done with the deep state. We're done with the swamp. Yep. Right.
And so Trump listened. Trump answered that. Trump tapped into that. And so could others as well? Of course.
The problem is, though, is that anybody that's not named Trump that tried to run on the MAGA platform most people, I shouldn't say everybody, most people did not succeed.
But you're always
so the polls show or the data shows that MAGA only exists when Donald Trump is on the ticket.
Often imitated, never duplicated. That's Trump.
Yeah.
Remember Piers Morgan? Ron, you're like the Diet Coke to Trump's Coke. You can't be Trump, so don't try. You can have some of the same policies, but I think moving forward, it's going to be what you do that authentically resonates with that base, because they can spot a fraud from a mile away.
Those voters do not come out unless Trump is on the ballot. The MAGA voters, most of them, do not come out unless Trump is on the ballot.
No,
so how can you say that it's not?
Well, then here's my message to those that won't come out. Don't tweet me when a Democrat's in office. Don't. I'm not going to come out unless it's... Well, okay. Well, what's the alternative, Skip?
Yeah. Yep.
I'm so tired of that. I'm going to stay home.
But I think part of that attitude is not trusting that anybody will do the job. So that to me, when we talk about the GOP being outplayed and failing to listen, that's in part what I'm talking about. In other words, if you want to look at a huge swath of people who are very different, and I think a piece of this is why Trump has tapped into, more than any other GOP candidate, tapped into so-called black and brown communities.
Yeah.
This is a piece of it.
But, here's the thing, and here's the double-edged sword, and this is the hypocrisy of it. You can't be the guy who says, I'm not going to vote unless it's somebody that's hardcore Trump MAGA, and then also be the guy who says, well, we need to keep fighting. We have to play as dirty as the Democrats do. You can't sit there and say, well, we got to be like rhinos and just roll over and die. We need to fight back. And then conversely say, if it's not MAGA enough for me, I'm going to stay home on Election Day and not vote. You don't get to have it both ways.
Richard Ryan on the YouTube chat says MAGA does not exist without Trump. Then he's proving my point. He's proving my point that it's about the person, not the movement. So is the MAGA movement the future of the Republican Party, or is it only the movement if Trump is the head of it?
I just think nobody has answered that call. That's how I would say it. I suggest to you that the MAGA Make America Great Again was a feeling in all of these, hundreds of millions of Americans who felt, more than half of the country felt that our leadership did not answer our needs and
you're
questions.
spot on.
Did not meet it.
Trump
got it.
I had people on my ex-wife's family side that were lifelong Democrats and independents that voted for Trump because they thought Hillary Clinton was exactly what we did not need to have any more of in this country. So you're spot on. I mean, and think about it. There are a lot of people that knew exactly what was going on, and Trump was the guy who had he had a microphone big enough, he had a megaphone big enough to say what exactly was going on. Everything that we either thought or believed, he said it. But also now you realize, like when we hear drain the swamp, it's like you can drain it a little bit, but the swamp's always going to like replenish. And, where's the next guy? Is there another guy? Because now you talk about precedent with all these indictments and cases. The precedent has been set from the establishment, the swamp, the deep state, however you want to coin it. If you come from the outside, or if you are a lifelong swamp creature that tries to actually say the quiet part out loud, remember what we did to Trump and how we made his life hell? Don't mess with us.
Yeah.
That precedent has been set. Doesn't mean you roll over and die. Doesn't mean you quit. Doesn't mean you keep trying not to expose it. But they have told you what exactly is up. 855-839-1210. All right, so done with the cut sheet. Part due an hour from now. Let me grab John real quickly before we get to Dawn's Big Three. John is in Hainesport. He's up next. What's up, Johnny?
Hey guys, love the show.
Thank you.
But every time you mention Chris Christie's name, I start getting twitches.
Sloppy Chris Christie.
Well, exactly. Well, first off, people forget he's the reason Obama won his second election when he did the photo op with him.
True.
Okay. By the way, Donald Trump needs me to give him advice because I can take him down. The second thing, and I live in New Jersey, paying high taxes. We all forget how he used to take his helicopter to his kids' baseball games. Okay? But more importantly, when that Bridgegate went down, two people, either he shouldn't have been governor because he didn't know about it, or guess what? He knew what happened, and that poor woman had kids, and she went to jail, and the guy Baroni from Hamilton has a sick father, and he's got to do jail time to cover for this guy. And let's not forget the good old Bridgegate where he cost New Jersey residents I'm sorry, not Bridgegate, but he closed the beaches. Everybody else couldn't go to the beaches, but of course he and his family could.
Yep.
He's a creep.
All right, John, we got you. Now that we've got indictment number 4 for Trump, Chris Christie will be rolled out on the shows between tonight and Sunday.
I'm sure he already was.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, they tapped into him live from home on Zoom. Chris, your thoughts? Well, Donald Trump. And meanwhile, all right, 8:41. It is a Tuesday morning. Lively cut sheet. Great cut sheet, by the way. We've got our morning mystery movie clip and all the typical 9 o'clock accessories. But right now, let's get to Dawn Stenzelin's Big Three at 8.
It's the Big Three at 8 on Kayal and Company.
And Big Three at 8, sponsored by Discover Lancaster. The Big Three, diverting from anything that we've talked about this morning. Number 1, arcade antics. Police down the shore searching for a woman accused of hitting a child when she threw a skee ball at a group of people at a Jersey Shore arcade. Cape May Police Department this morning asking anybody to please come forward if you can identify the woman in the surveillance video they've posted. So you see this woman, she throws the skee ball toward a group of people as she's playing skee ball with a child. The group then confronts her. She says something to them. You see her leaving. She's wearing a white dress, dark shoulder-length hair. Authorities say she was involved in some kind of a disagreement with the group before the incident, and this ball struck a child on the back of the head. Now, we don't have the extent of that child's injury.
Mm-hmm.
Presumably, police were called. The child was injured. We just don't know the extent, if it's a serious head injury, that sort of thing. But Cape May Police putting out the word.
Who throws a skee ball?
I know.
Those things hurt.
That's a heavy.
That's a heavy.
I know.
That's nasty.
It is. And by the way, you absolutely have to shoot for the top hole when you're playing skee ball. You go big or you go home. Don't
Is
waste
it
your
the
time.
wrist?
No, it's not the risk. You just got to get to the big denominations. So you get all the big tickets for the stuffed animal later.
Number 2, the Flying Hawaiian is helping his fire-ravaged home. Yes, former Philadelphia Phillies star Shane Victorino is helping his native Maui, Hawaii. This morning, officials, by the way, are trying to identify and as well are releasing some of the names of those 99 people who've died in the devastating Maui wildfires, with hundreds more still missing. Victorino is donating money as well as raising donations through his foundation, the Shane Victorino Foundation. Of course, the Flying Hawaiian says that his message to people who are most impacted by these devastating wildfires is one of love.
One of my favorite Phillies from that 2008 World Series championship team, the center fielder. Now, I don't know what his politics are, but if Shane is a Republican, if I was him, I'd advise him, you give $701 to each household. Just $1, $1 more than the Biden administration gave for Maui.
And to bug Greg Stocker because it's 701.
Right, because then we got to round up to 800. So Greg is.
Well, we were at 199 likes on today's live stream on YouTube, and now we are sitting at 200. So no more likes. I don't want any more likes on today's show because 201. Come on. 202 now. Thank you.
Triggering
People
Stocker.
It's not right. It's not right.
Greg's reaction when we get to 207.
Cool, man. Awesome. Great. I just wanted. To it. Okay. It's not right. It's not right. Thank you.
And
sorry.
number 3, another side of the blind side. This has to do with an explosive new lawsuit filed by former NFL star Michael Oher, who's now 37 years old.
Yes.
So in this latest lawsuit, this new lawsuit filed, he alleges that Sean and Leanne Toohey, who are now 63, never actually adopted him. And I loved this movie, The Blind Side. It was a hit movie.
So did I.
And so it's so sad to hear all of this, but he says they never actually adopted him, despite that being a major plot point in the film. But instead, he says that he signed something that named them as his conservators, which meant that legally they could act in business interests in his name.
Yes. True story. I actually went and belonged to the same YMCA gym that Michael Oher belongs to in Brentwood, Tennessee, which is a suburb just east of Nashville. And I would see Michael Oher in the sauna all the time. And he knew that I did sports and I was working with his former teammate, Derek Mason. And we would have all sorts of conversations. But I was told from Derek, who I did the morning show with in Nashville, don't be the guy that asks about, hey, in The Blind Side, blah, blah, blah. That is a major sore subject for him.
Well, apparently, to your point.
Apparently on both sides.
Well, I mean, for him, I guess it has been festering. So I don't know what necessarily, because to your, you actually met him, knew him. So,
Very nice guy. Very nice guy.
And he's huge, right?
He was a former offensive lineman. He lost 100 pounds. He's like 250 now, but it's amazing. Like all the fat guys in the NFL, they shed 100 pounds when they stop playing. And all the running backs and small guys, they gain 80 pounds because they start to eat again. Really remarkable. But to that point, Leanne Toohey and her husband, they owned a bunch of Taco Bells, which is the story's based off of.
Which, by the way, today is Taco Tuesday, and you can get free tacos.
Is it really? All right.
There's that tie-in, too.
Yeah.
But we'll follow us. The Toohey family, who are featured. Remember Sandra Bullock plays Leanne Toohey.
Part of the reason we watched it.
I know. It's such a great... But the story was that they adopt this, Michael Oher. They chronicle his life. He was a homeless child.
Yeah, they brought him in.
So they now have come out and they've denied his allegations, saying that they're devastated by even the thought of making money off of any of their kids.
Yep.
And so, but the idea of this co-conservatorship, I guess they received $200,000 for the movie, and then 2.5% of the profits, but it has made more than $300 million. He says he never received a dime.
And they were big conservative. That family, the Toohey family, that's Mike Pence right there. Evangelical conservative Republicans.
And they show that in the.
Oh, yeah.
She's a Second Amendment person. Carries a.
She's always packing.
Firearm. Yeah, she's packing.
She says it.
But he's saying, why wasn't I get, ultimately, are they going to settle with him? Because they received 2.5% of the film's net proceeds, which wouldn't necessarily be $300 million because it's the net.
Wasn't the dad in that movie Tim McGraw?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a pretty good cast.
I know. I loved that movie.
So the tutor's great, too. She plays Molly Brown in the Titanic.
Yes, that's right.
QJ says, come on, man. Michael, how do you say his last name?
Orr
made NFL salary for a few years. Guess he burned through all the money like a lot of athletes do, and now he's looking to grift some money off the family that helped him.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't think that's wrong. He's got a really big truck, too. You think my truck is big? You'll see his.
Big truck envy.
Yeah.
Nick Kayal.
BTE.
So we'll follow that one, but you're right. It's a sad commentary, but I suspect they said that they've denied it, but I wonder if they'll ultimately settle.
I think the little kid stole it. Sandra Bullock's son, the little RJ, that little rugrat. He always looks suspicious to me.
And by the way, as far as the adoption story, I think the co-conservator, whatever that legalese was, it was all because of, and the Tuohys have come out and said they had to jump through hoops. Remember in the movie, they talk about the NCAA.
Okay.
And so they've explained the conservatorship by saying that's what they're claiming the NCAA was demanding.
Gotcha.
So we'll follow it for
All
you.
right.
But we were discovered this morning on a day where we could see showers this afternoon and relative lower humidity tomorrow with mid-80s tomorrow. Discover more of Lancaster. Head to Fire and Spice at Nisley Vineyards this weekend for live music, wine tasting, and much more. Just a 90-minute drive from Philadelphia. Visit discoverlancaster.com. Plan your getaway. Thank you, Discover Lancaster, for sponsoring our Big 3 at 8.
All right, Dawn, thank you very much. 855-839-1210, the phone number. 9 o'clock hour is on the way. We will touch on Donald Trump again to kick off the hour, and then we will get to the Musk-Zuckerberg story and just a few other stories as well. But a lot of stuff today on the big indictment in Georgia and the debacle that was yesterday with Fulton County. As we continue, Kayal and Company, live on a Tuesday on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Does your knee pain keep getting worse? How about that pain in your shoulder or hip or your back? Don't let them tell you steroids and surgery are your only option. Take my advice now. Call QC Kinetics. Dawn Stansland here. QC Kinetics can make that pain go away with all-natural, advanced, regenerative medicine. And they're helping people here in the Philadelphia region every single day with these amazing natural treatments which restore and repair damaged joint tissue. It's like turning back the clock. Regenerative medicine uses concentrated healing agents from your own body, which stimulate that damaged tissue in your joints so they can work like they're supposed to. Zero downtime. How about that? This is a remarkable option. You need to check it out, and the consultation's free. Just call QC Kinetics now. 215-999-3000. Would you just call QC Kinetics? Call them today. 215-999-3000. Tell them Dawn sent you.
It's college season, and parents have a lot to consider.
You can say that again.
You got 6 college visits.
2 down.
18 care packages.
I know my baby.
Then there's Parents' Weekend.
Just 1?
Speaking of, when you get a Citizen student loan with multi-year approval, all you need is one easy application. Learn more at citizensbank.com/one-and-done. Citizens, made ready.
The Securities and Exchange Commission regulates our nation's Wall Street firms, and their top attorney exposes one of the many hidden threats to your 401k and mutual fund accounts in the stunning documentary film, The Baby Boomer Dilemma.
My name's Edward Siddell. I'm a former SEC attorney who has pioneered the field of forensic investigations of pensions and retirement plans. 0.5% or more a year in excessive fees causes your average American worker to have maybe 60% what they would have in their 401k balance had they been in lower cost mutual funds.
Learn how to eliminate market risk and fees from your retirement future. Reserve your seat for the next private screening of The Baby Boomer Dilemma at the William Penn Inn on September 12th. Registration is required. 800-722-9728 or crashproofretirement.com.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 103.9 FM.
Donald Trump and 18 of his allies have been indicted in Georgia for efforts to overturn the 2020 election. It's the former president's fourth indictment. He has until August 25th to voluntarily surrender. And a triple shooting in Southwest Philly sends 2 women and a teenage boy to the hospital. The suspect has been arrested.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
Parks Casino. Joe Conklin hosts national comedians every other Thursday. It's Joe Conklin's Comedy Night at Parks. Show dates and tickets. Go to joeconklin.com. JoeConklin.com.
Ah, yes. Football season is quickly approaching, and FanDuel Sportsbook, in partnership with Valley Forge Casino, is giving you the chance to win all season long. If you've not done so, football season is the time to sign up for FanDuel. Right now, when you bet on a Super Bowl winner, so you can bet right now on a Super Bowl winner, the Philadelphia Eagles, you can get bonus bets every time they win in the regular season. Just pick any team to win the Super Bowl, any team, and you get bonus bets for every victory. You can use your bonus bets on spreads, player props, over-unders, so much more. I love the FanDuel app, so visit FanDuel.com/Greg right now and start earning bonus bets with America's #1 sportsbook. That's FanDuel.com/Greg. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official partner of 1210 WPHT. 21 and over, President PA. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days. Max bonus $50 unless specified otherwise. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Please call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Calling on Blackwood to follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
Kayal and company getting set to take you home in the final hour, 9 o'clock hour upon us. Super Bowl wager placed by Stocker.
The Eagles.
He's on the Eagles.
I'm just saying, it's a great bet, man.
I like it. Golf outing yesterday with Piazza and some other of our great advertisers. It was so funny. Speaking of the Super Bowl, Merrill Reese was there and Howard Eskin was there. And, of course, you know, Merrill thinks the Eagles don't have a blemish. They don't have a hole on their roster. And, of course, Howard was like, it's very difficult to repeat and get back there. You got to stay injury-free.
Yeah, he's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
No.
So, good luck if you're jumping on that wager at FanDuel with Greg Stocker's advice. 855-839-1210, the phone number. It looks like the social media wars have come to an end. No, not amongst DeSantis supporters and Trump supporters going back and forth, but between Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg. And I started getting the feeling, I think I said this to you guys last week on the show, that I felt like Musk was starting to drag this out a little bit, and I felt like he's got, Dana White kind of in his corner, and we talked about, the Roman Colosseum and all this other stuff, and then, it's going to be streamed on X. Well, it appears, and this is from MarketWatch.com, but a lot of people have had it, the dumbest story of the summer may be over.
Thank God.
Finally, mercifully. Mark Zuckerberg, billionaire and chief executive of Meta, appeared on Sunday to pull the grown-up card, or at least the less immature card, to scuttle a cage fight with Elon Musk, who we know is even wealthier, the owner of Tesla and Twitter and X and all that other stuff. From the start, and this is according to this story, it was a story that appeared to live mostly in Musk's imagination, yet it still sparked somewhat of a media frenzy. And I bought it hook, line, and sinker. I said if there was a Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg fight, I think we should do a Kayal and Company watch party. And then Musk kind of floated out the idea of, I'm a little banged up. I tweaked this. I've got this imaging and this scan coming up. What about a debate? To which I had said, honestly, a debate between these two would probably be more entertaining from the standpoint of at least they're somewhat in their wheelhouse. And we know that they differ politically, so that would certainly be interesting. But it appears after a exchange on X from Elon Musk and an author and journalist that this is, in all likelihood, now not going to happen. So it was all for nothing. And I think you had said a while ago that they're both doing it just to get their name out in the media cycle.
I mean, they're both whatchamacallit. They're both showmen. You know what I mean?
They
Like Dana White was the Don King of it. Like it was all for promotion and show. And
yeah.
Looks
like that is the case. So,
but they're still going to raise money. They'll still do something to raise the money, right?
Yeah,
for charity.
You would like to see that for sure. I still think Zuckerberg would win.
Do we think that, Don? Do we really think that they're going to do something to raise money? I don't know.
I think they will.
Do you?
I think they will.
Okay.
I just wonder if they were using this as an excuse to talk, and what were they really talking about?
Unless they're just because they both have new ventures. Twitter's now X, and Threads is Zuckerberg's thing. So you never know.
They're getting together to decide who's going to be the next president of the United States. So that's right. That's what they're doing. By the way, Joe USMC on the YouTube chat. By the way, if you have not done so, please hit the like button and the subscribe button at 1210 WPHD on YouTube. He was like, "Why is the stream 40 minutes off?" And then he realized it's because we did the Big 3 at 8 at 8:40.
Yes. Sometimes we do that. Sometimes the cut sheet goes.
We've never done it at 8. We've never done the Big 3 at 8.
Not since the first week or so.
That's the joke.
Yes.
That's the joke of it,
Right.
is that we do it whenever we feel like.
And by the way,
did we? I don't know if we did.
The Big 3 at 9 will be coming up around 9:16. So there you go. But I got to get out of here because it's 8:59 and Dawn Stenzelin has a word for QC Kinetics.
You got to turn to my. What's that?
No, I said thank you, Nick, for keeping me on track.
Yeah, because my friends at QC Kinetics, I had visited the great QC Kinetics, the one in KOP in King of Prussia. And so if your knee pain just is getting worse and worse, maybe the pain in your shoulder, your aching hip, or your back, don't let them tell you that steroids or surgery are your only options. They're not. Just take my advice. Call QC Kinetics. Call them today. Just make a commitment. Yeah, I'm just gonna give QC Kinetics a call today. Why? Because they have an all-natural, advanced, regenerative medicine routine. They're helping people here in Philadelphia every single day. And these are amazing natural treatments which restore and repair your damaged joint tissue. It's like turning back the clock. Regenerative medicine uses concentrated healing agents from your own body, which stimulate that damaged tissue in your joints so that they can work, like they used to, like they're supposed to, and there is zero downtime. That's the beauty of this. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in this exciting medical breakthrough, and patients are getting real, lasting relief. And saying no to surgery, saying no to drugs, saying no to the downtime. If you have pain due to injury or maybe arthritis, this is a remarkable option. You got to check it out. The consultation is free, of course. Call QC Kinetics now, 215-999-3000, 215-999-3000. Just call QC Kinetics, 215-999-3000. Tell them Dawn sent you.
WPHD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Hey, it's Rich Zioli. Make it a September to remember and book your stay at the Oceanfront Grand Hotel in Cape May, New Jersey. Stay 2 nights, save 10% on the discounted room rates. Stay 3 nights, save 10% and receive a $55 a night resort credit. Stay 5 nights, save 10% and get $65 a night in resort credits, which you can use for food and beverage purchases in Hemingway's restaurant, the outdoor pool bar, the beach concession, or the gift shop. Book direct with them for the best rates. Call today at 800-257-8550 or grandhotelcapemay.com.
So many listeners are enjoying beautiful, easy-to-maintain homes thanks to Rhino Shield, and you can too. Dom Giordano here with my good friend, the local owner of Rhino Shield. John, take it away.
Hello, it's John from Rhino Shield. For years, you've heard about our exclusive elastomeric ceramic house paint with the unheard-of 25-year warranty. Today, I want to ask you, do you need to paint your home? Maybe even been putting it off for too long? If your answer is yes, then ask yourself, if you want to paint it one last time, or if you want to be painting it again in 5 or 6 years. Rhino Shield can make your next paint job your last. Rhino Shield is waterproof, protects your home, is affordable, and looks great on any exterior surface. Let Rhino Shield show you how you can be done with frequent painting. Call us today at 484-406-5111 for a free consultation. That's 484-406-5111.
Volvo Finance, in concert with Cherry Hill Volvo, is offering lease and cash bonuses up to $2,500. Purchase or lease a new XC40 or XC90 through Volvo Finance and through Cherry Hill Volvo and receive this additional bonus along with the aggressive pricing already posted on our Cherry Hill Volvo website. This is a special offer and it is not to be missed. Volvo Finance and Cherry Hill Volvo and you, a perfect partnership.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
I'm asking about Prevnar 20 because there's a chance pneumococcal pneumonia could put me in the hospital.
Age 65 or older, you may be at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a vaccine that can help protect against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
I want to be able to keep my plans.
So I'm asking my doctor about getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
Hey, Warminster, we know your favorite station is WPHT.
Tell your smart speaker to play 1210 WPHT.
Here come the jesters, 1, 2, 3. It's all part of my fantasy. I love the music and I love to see the crowd dancing in the aisles and singing out loud.
Kayal and Company, 9:05, Tuesday morning, fourth and final hour underway. Here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, Nick, Dawn, and Greg. Daniel and Anthony here as well. Morning mystery movie clip at 9:20. We'll get to Dawn's Big Three at 9:30. The cut sheet part due at 9:40. What's on tap for the Dawn Show? And who on Twitter today before we get out of here this morning? The big story of the morning of the day is what transpired yesterday. Donald Trump indicted in his fourth installment of indictments, the Georgia election meddling case. And we've been talking about that all morning long. If you're just tuning in for the first time, first of all,
we start at 6 a.m.
So I don't know where you have been for the last 3 hours and 6 minutes, but we're glad to have you. Better late than never. And obviously a lot of conversation stemming from what transpired yesterday, not just on the surface with an indictment and the racketeering charge, the amount of people that have been linked to this, 19 people total, 18 in addition to Trump, 13 charges. But then you also have the symmetry here, which we laid out for you in the first hour. And for those of you who are tracking this at home, this is, once again, it's not even a pattern. It is a trend. On March 17th, Hunter Biden admits about his laptop. A day later, on March 18th, Trump is indicted by Alvin Bragg. Fast forward to June 8th, the FBI document that alleges bribery with the Bidens. A day later, on June 9th, Trump indicted Mar-a-Lago, classified documents. July 26th, Hunter, plea deal, the sweetheart deal. David Weiss's constructed deal collapses. A day later, July 27th, Donald Trump, January 6th, Washington, D.C., indictment. July 31st, Devin Archer testifies. August 1st, indictment. August 9th, more damaging Biden bank records released. August 11th, the DOJ designates a special counsel. August 14th was Saturday and Sunday in between. They took a weekend off. FBI whistleblower transcript released, and then Trump gets indicted. And the way it played out yesterday is, I think, from a legal system standpoint, it's just an absolute disgrace and an epic disaster. You have a grand jury still behind closed doors, yet Fulton County, Atlanta, Georgia, decides to post the indictment on their website from their server, and it's up there for almost 4 hours as your boy's out there hacking it up on the golf course like an idiot. And then it finally comes down. And it comes down because it was a fictitious document. That's what they told you. And you heard from Ms. Willis in the cut sheet this morning. I really can't elaborate much on it. I'm not in charge of the administrative clerical clerk aspect of what we do in the legal profession.
Do you want me to play it again?
Yeah, can we isolate this non-answer for a second?
Fonnie Willis,
Fonnie
when a reporter
Willis
asks about the supposedly fictitious Trump indictment that was posted before the indictment actually came down.
Okay.
According to the Fulton County Clerk's Office that was circulated online with charges against former President Donald Trump, that fictitious document matched exactly the charges that we now see in this indictment. Can you tell us more about that document leak? Because now you have the former president's lawyers who are saying that this is emblematic of a serious problem with your office.
No, I can't tell you anything about what you refer to. What I can tell you is that we had a grand jury here in Fulton County. They deliberated till almost 8 o'clock, if not right after 8 o'clock. An indictment was returned. It was true billed, and you now have an indictment. I am not an expert on clerks' duties or even administrative duties. I wouldn't know how to work that system, and so I'm not going to speculate. Next question.
Have you had
it was my paralegal in office number 2. She hit the submit button prematurely. I told her not until we officially adjourn. Come on, man. It's so embarrassing on so many fronts, but on the actual indictment itself and the RICO charge, the racketeering charge, which is the most serious felony of them all, you look at that, and then you look at the other counts, and it's false statements, it's a lot of the obstruction type stuff, a lot of the frivolous, soft stuff, so to speak, that you've seen in these other cases and these other indictments. But Jonathan Turley makes a great point. From a legal standpoint, when we look at this, it is going to come down to that audio tape, that phone call of Trump that I played for you in the Big Take, which was dated on January 2nd, 2021, allegedly, where he was looking at the number of 11,000, I think 870 or 780, 11,000 and change, going after looking for votes. And it will come down to whether or not this was him challenging to find votes or the attempt to defraud and basically do whatever you got to do. And that could very well be the make or break element that the jury will have to decide on in this case. It seems like they have gotten gradually more serious. I don't even want to say serious because the Alvin Bragg thing is laughable. That is one of the most ridiculous indictments I've ever seen. And then classified documents, it's like, okay, but, Joe did this, Hunter did that. And then you have the January 6th stuff, and then you have this phone call, and that's kind of a big element of this case. And if you missed out this morning, go back. We talked about a lot of this in the 6 and the 7 o'clock hours, as well as the cut sheet. And then many different ripple effects of this when it comes to Trump, whether he's ultimately going to end up serving any jail. This is a state case. And then you look at the option or no option of being able to pardon. And then we even got into post-Trump, what does the party look like? Can the MAGA movement exist without Donald Trump? So many different layers to the conversation this morning. If you missed any of it, go back on YouTube or the Odyssey app. But I think in summary, this is one of these indictments where literally, and I'm quoting Jonathan Turley of Fox News, legal analyst and legal scholar at George Washington University. He says, indeed, quote, every call, speech, and tweet appears a criminal step in the conspiracy. The district attorney, Willis, appears to have elected to charge everything and everyone under the sun and let God sort them out. So that's kind of where we are at today. And it looks like, obviously, this came quicker than some were expecting. Some were expecting towards the end of the month or September 1st. But once again, it really does feel every time something could possibly go wrong for the Bidens, Dawn, let's just orchestrate, coordinate, and then ultimately execute in regards to Trump.
It's just a coincidence.
It's just a coincidence. It's just a coincidence. Hey, look, you can wreck your car 4 times in 8 months. It's possible. It is absolutely possible. Things happen. Screws fall out. You could win the lottery twice, but you get indicted 4 times with a total separation of your political opponent's bad news or legal mess, a total of 5 days apart. That is, and it almost, not only when you talked about, because I think you nailed it with the coordinated word, it's going from like, hey, let's get the brag thing out of the way, right? That's like the appetizer, right? There's a lady with the little mini sliders that comes around with a little burger. Here, have your little burger, and then here comes the salad, and then here comes the entree, and then here comes the dessert, and it's like this gradual buildup that you have in a 5-course meal, except this is like a 4-course indictment, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's New York, it's Florida, it's D.C., and it's Georgia, and here we are. So we'll see how this plays out. This will be the story for the next couple of days, and then we'll move on to something else. And then, look, if more bad news comes out for the Bidens, I mean, I'm sure they'll be concocting something behind the scenes. What else do we have on Trump? Anything else we can throw out here? We got to throw a stink bomb. Obviously, the Georgia case, I think a lot of people are looking at this from the standpoint of her track record as well. Willis, she apparently does have a history with these racketeering RICO cases. She charged another rapper in the past with this. And then also some of the other names, Meadows, Giuliani, they've been in the mix. A lot of people believe Meadows is the guy that has squealed or will flip. But to be honest, I'm not remotely interested in some of these other characters. Like, to me, it's almost exclusively about Trump. And we also talked about the element in Georgia. Unlike some of these other cases, this can be one that it ultimately comes down to the presiding judge. This can actually be a live, made-for-television type thing. Now, I'm not going to say it's all doctored up Hollywood style, but this you could very well watch this entire case. And I think the question on that front is, yes, we love transparency, but also the concern of this becoming what the O.J. Simpson case was almost 30 years ago, a just absolute circus sideshow. And Trump can Trump can be the ringleader of it, except I don't think, much like O.J. Simpson, I don't think you're ever going to hear from him in these cases. I would be shocked if he actually spoke and took the stand.
Well, in the O.J. Simpson case, it was a brutal murder of his ex-wife and somebody who barely knew her, Ron Goldman, right? But in this case, is it the brutal murder of MAGA Republicans, those deplorables?
In somebody's political career.
Or is it
But the point being, you got these two captivating, Americans are just attracted to certain individuals. There's that sex appeal to the O.J. Simpson case. There's a sex appeal to the Trump case because everything Trump says and does garners attention.
Yeah, but I do, to your point, if you relate it to a murder or something that's an injustice, who's that in this case? Who is the injustice?
Well, if you listen to Trump, he says, I'm fighting for you, so the answer is us.
And so what does this mean as far as, I mean, we've never seen, and this is all new, we've never seen anything like this because it's a presidential candidate, the leading candidate, but as well, is there a silencing impact on conservatives?
Mm-hmm.
Because Trump was the one who owned it. Every view he had, everything, he owned it.
Mm-hmm.
And he came out on a stage and he said everything that everybody was thinking, and all the conservatives were in the closet, started coming out of the closet.
Mm-hmm.
Does it have a silencing impact? Does it, you said, where people might say, no, I'm done, I'm staying home. Does it have that kind of oppressive, suppressing impact?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And Greg asked the question, can the MAGA movement move on and continue to thrive and be a thing post-Trump without Trump? And, you thought maybe initially, and some would say no matter what. And then there was like, well, maybe it could be DeSantis, but then he challenged Trump, so he didn't stick to the loyalty. He alienated some of the MAGA base. And, oh, by the way, he just hasn't ran a great campaign publicly since launching. We got a tweet from Newman Price who says Glenn Youngkin. I totally disagree with that. I don't see any resemblance of anything MAGA to Glenn Youngkin. So if you're looking for how does it go on without DJT, I don't know, but I believe it's not Glenn Youngkin.
But think about what just happened. You have all these people who are announced candidates.
Yeah.
and the suggestion here is somebody who is outside. You know what I mean? He's on the outside, but I don't rule him out because he's somebody who is that fresh face. There's not the baggage. Greg's like going like, I don't know if he's shaking his head at me or the YouTube reaction.
No. I completely disagree with you on Glenn Youngkin. I mean,
you don't know though. Do you know? Do you know everything about him? What Americans know about him is he's the guy who was elected after the outrage over what happened at that school board meeting, and the dad who was embarrassed because he was outraged that his daughter had been raped in her bathroom. The rapist then moved to a different school where he raped somebody else.
Okay, we get
Then
it.
there was the allegation
Jesus.
that the kid. Then there was the allegation by the rapist's mom.
How many times can you say it in 30 seconds?
Remember this? The rapist's mom came out and she had, to your point.
I'll take therapists for $300, Alex.
Lord. Okay.
So are you in agreement with Newman that you think Youngkin could be that guy?
I'm just saying.
No, I'm talking to Greg.
He's somebody who is an outsider, and we don't know everything about him. I think it's significant that his name was brought up. So I don't rule anybody or anything out when you're looking at a group of people who now look at this situation going, oh, my God, look at what they, the deep state, the swamp, because that's the attitude, would do to somebody to take him out. Right. And so now the level of distrust is skyrocketing.
Well, it's not Pence, it's not DeSantis, it's not Scott, it's not Haley, it's certainly not Christie. It probably, the closest thing would be
Ramaswamy.
Yet you have hardcore people say, he's got too many connections to Big Pharma. So, you're not going to get another Trump.
I still go back to the data that shows when Donald Trump is not on the ballot, MAGA Republicans don't come out. So does the movement go on without him? I think my answer, and I know you guys both disagree, but my answer is no. It's about the individual. It's not about the movement.
You're right. You're right then.
I think they should enter that line of Greg Stocker in any of these court cases and say who the real person, the real people they're going after during this contentious election is actually the Republican so-called MAGA voter.
Yeah.
The conservative or the working union person or whoever Trump, that's who they're really going after.
Well, then the Republican Party's dead because, I mean, you're already outnumbered to begin with. So how do you beat a Democrat in any sizable, substantial, impactful election without the MAGA base? You might not even win with the MAGA base. If you lose that element of the party, you're dead man walking. Yeah.
So
Joe Biden waltzes to re-election.
So maybe that's their goal.
Yeah.
I'm moving to Fiji.
Outplayed again.
All right.
Fiji.
Huh?
Fiji.
I don't know. It's a bad movie reference. I'm exhausted. 9:20. Speaking of movies, let's get to the morning mystery movie clip.
And now, the morning mystery movie clip on Kayal and Company. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
No idea?
No idea what you're talking about.
I get it. I understand how these deals are made, right? See, someone has leverage.
Anthony, them. It's over. We got them for Wirefront. It's over. You're done. You're both done. You're done. I don't think so. I don't think so. Oh, you don't think so? Richard, you requested the $2 million, and you gave Brenda the account number.
No.
We didn't do any of that. None of it. How do we know that you don't have the money? Really, I find this a little offensive.
Think you know what it is? Be call at 12 at 855-839-1210, and you could win this great prize.
How about this? Another chance, another day for a 4-pack of tickets to tour the Battleship New Jersey in Camden. For more information, visit battleshipnewjersey.org. Caller 12-855-839-1210, the phone number for a 4-pack of tickets to get aboard the Battleship New Jersey in Camden, New Jersey. Kayal and Company continues. Dawn Stendland's Big 3 at 9:30 on the other side. Live here on a Tuesday. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Hey, it's Rich Zioli. Do you really want to take shots the rest of your life just to lose weight? NJ Diet's typical results are twice as fast as weight loss injections without any of the side effects. Plus, you learn proper portion control. You develop healthy eating habits that last you the rest of your life. By the end of NJ Diet's 40-day program, you will lose 20 to 40 plus pounds, contractually guaranteed. You will lose the weight. You will keep off the weight the natural way. NJ Diet uses your hair, saliva, and blood work along with scans to personalize natural solutions and supplements. That's going to get your body into the fat-burning zone. Then, NJ Diet uses your DNA info to help keep the weight off. Locations throughout the East Coast are available with live online video consultations. Don't take shots the rest of your life. Lose weight quickly the natural way with NJ Diet. 855-5NJ-DIET, 855-5NJ-DIET, or schedule your consult at njdiet.com. njdiet.com, lose the weight for good.
This is Larry Steinhaus of Investor Schooling. I am so proud to announce the continuing success of our students at Investor Schooling. You already know that at Investor Schooling, we teach real estate investing and stock options. Did you also know that we teach things about tax savings, estate planning, and business coaching as well? We teach things about money I bet you never knew. At Investor Schooling, we teach from the perspective of true experience. If you want to see what our students think about Investor Schooling, please check out the over 160 5-star Google reviews. To find out more about how you can change your financial life, go to investorschooling.com or call 866-424-2829. That's 866-424-2829, and you can attend a complimentary class this Thursday at 7 p.m. Attend that class and see for yourself what Investor Schooling is all about. Go to investorschooling.com or call 866-424-2829. That's 866-424-2829. We can't wait to see you this Thursday.
Your official home for Penn State football and basketball is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT and the free Odyssey app. Listen to every Nittany Lions game on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT and the free Odyssey app.
Don't miss Dr. Marianne Ritchie, your radio doctor, Saturday afternoons at 5. Tune in for accurate information so you can make the right medical decisions. Your radio doctor, Dr. Marianne Ritchie, Saturday afternoons at 5 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Hey neighbor, what you up to?
Just getting the groundwork done to put in my new patio.
Oh, cool. Did you contact Pennsylvania One call system to check for underground utilities first?
Nah, there's nothing but dirt back here.
Whoa, hey man, are you okay?
Hey, did you guys lose power too? Love that new hair color, Bill.
Yeah, your hair's totally white now.
Maybe I should contact Pennsylvania One Call.
Well, that's the smartest thing you've said all day.
Know what's below. Contact 811 before you dig or visit pa1call.org to submit a locate request to have underground utilities marked.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
There are more identity threats than you realize. Even if you monitor your credit, only a little personal info needs to leak out, like your social security number or password.
Or you to become a victim.
LifeLock alerts you to threats you could miss. If your identity is stolen, a dedicated US-based restoration specialist will work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions, but everyone can save up to 25% off their first year with promo code NEWS. Go to lifelock.com.
Heading down the shore? Looking for that perfect place for dinner and cocktails? Then you have to visit Mulligan's Shore Bar in Wildwood. Mulligan's is the perfect neighborhood bar with great food, drink specials, live entertainment, and reasonable prices. Stop into Mulligan's and be greeted by their friendly staff who will list out all the weekly and daily food and cocktail specials. Mulligan's Shore Bar is at 310 Hildreth Avenue, just off Rio Grande in Wildwood. Check them out on Facebook. Mulligan's Shore Bar and Grill.
The New York Times calls BritBox the best of British telly. Extreme brilliance series you can only find on BritBox. Start a free trial at BritBox.com.
Hey, Joe DeCamera here for United Tire. Is your car's AC unit making you sweat? Then it's time to cool off and cash in on savings at United Tire. Get that cold blast back and save $50 on any AC service with the purchase of 4 new tires from select brands at United Tire. Air conditioning problems are no problem at United Tire. So keep cool this summer and stop into your locally owned United Tire or make an appointment today at UnitedTire.com. That's UnitedTire.com. Don't drive alone. Drive United.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. Your car, running or not, could be picked up as soon as the next day. No title, no problem. Go to carsforkids.org today.
1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Don't let them silence you. Follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
Kayal and Company, 928 as we continue. It's a Tuesday morning. Nick, Dawn, and Greg. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. On the Odyssey app for free. Streaming live on YouTube for free. You get all this 20 hours a week absolutely free.
Can I say this? Speaking of YouTube,
yeah.
Boy, this audience sees conspiracy where there is none. It is unbelievable. Everybody has their tinfoil hats on.
Right.
Wendy writes, Greg has a problem with calling out a rapist. Wow. No, I have no problem calling out a rapist. I have a problem with it being said 6 times in 30 seconds in Morning Drive. It's nothing against Dawn. I'm just saying it's just a biting word. We're trying to do a little different radio, so saying it over and over and over again is what I had issue with. Stop with the conspiracies. Jesus mighty. Who cares? Nobody cares. It was like, oh, it's weird he said that. There must be a reason he said that. Yes. The same reason, we don't, we try not to curse or say words that aren't always family friendly. That's all I'm saying. Thank you.
This is why I picked up golf as a hobby, folks.
Ay, ay, ay.
This is why I golf. If I didn't golf, I would go insane.
Some in this audience might think Democrats are not family friendly, so maybe you shouldn't say that word.
This is radio, people.
Triggering stalker.
Conspiracy theory. Oh my God.
It only took until Tuesday. And just think, folks,
if we connect this with this, maybe we'll get here.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was actually our strategy on the golf course yesterday. If I connect here and get there, then I can get to here and then get to the green, and then we're never going to win the team prize anyway.
Mm-hmm.
855-839-1210, the number. Kayal and Company, where we do question the answers and answer the questions, and we keep receipts. And Roger has some answers, allegedly, supposedly. He's in Horsham, and I think he's identified our movie clip for the Battleship New Jersey tickets. Roger, what did we just play for you?
One of my favorite Christian Bale movies, American Hustle.
That's correct, sir. Woo! Jennifer Lawrence, 33 years old today. Congratulations, Roger. You got the tickets, and we appreciate you for listening and playing.
Great show, guys. Keep it up.
Thank you. There he is, Roger in Horsham. By the way, if I was Roger, I would always go by Raj. I've always liked the abbreviation. Yeah, you ever hear, hey, Raj?
No.
I'm a big Raj fan.
No, Roger is a great name.
It's an underrated name.
It should be Roger, not Raj. Thank you.
Just wanted to get your thoughts on that one.
When Wendy writes back, you are welcome. Because everybody tries to trigger me on the YouTube chat.
Yes.
You should just join the YouTube chat to try and trigger me.
They know they can't get to me. I very rarely take the bait. You're like a hyena.
I know. I take the bait everywhere I see it.
Yep.
I take the bait everywhere I see it.
All right, 9:31 Tuesday morning. We have a lot to get to, but before that, it's Dawn Stensland's Big Three at 9.
It's the Big 3 at 9 on Kayal and Company.
Big 3 at 9, sponsored by Millville Army Airfield Museum this morning. So, number 1 I'll talk a little bit about the economy, and these are stories that we have not talked about this morning, okay?
Okay.
Big bucks from Mr. Bidenomics heading to Pennsylvania, which is getting $172 million in federal funding for electric vehicle upgrades, EVs.
Okay. How about that?
So
I love electric school buses.
Yes.
officials with Governor Josh Shapiro's administration joining reps from the Federal Highway Administration in South Abington Township. They say millions of dollars have been set aside for 54 EV charging projects across PA. These federal dollars will be doled out over the next 5 years. And PennDOT says the number of electric vehicles registered in Pennsylvania has tripled since 2019.
You know, I'm glad you bring this up. Interesting observation, and maybe other people have had it as well. The Walgreens that is in my neighborhood in Bluebell is on a corner. Surprise, surprise. That's not breaking news, but it's the way it's shaped. You have like to the angle, like on a 90-degree turn, you have a bunch of parking spots, and then you kind of come around the curb, and then there's like 2 or 3 handicap spots, and there's 3 electric charging station spots. And I actually looked at that yesterday at around 7:30. I had to go into Walgreens to get something. Out of like the 15 spots, 20% of them were for electric charging. And I'm thinking, that doesn't seem like the right ratio. Doesn't that seem a bit excessive? Have you guys ever noticed this? Or am I the only loser that picks up on these things in society?
Well, so they're EVs or they're hybrid or
it was like the charging port station where you only pull into it for the point of if you need to charge your car. Although if I had to park and nobody was there, I would pull in anyway, regardless if I had an EV.
Well, that's my question. That those.
By the way, who's not parked in a handicap spot once in their life? I mean, come on, raise your hand.
No, you did not.
Never.
In my younger years, yes.
By accident.
By accident.
No, but my question is, were some of those people parked? Are they looking for the charger? And are they actual customers?
That's a good question, but it just felt like because I think, and somebody will let us know because the fact checkers are always listening. The handicap spots that you see in any establishment, there's a ratio. It's based on some sort of, how many spots you have. Well, you have to allocate 5% or 10% or whatever it is for handicap. But I just saw the EV and like the electric, and I'm like, really? Because I've never seen anybody actually charging an electric. I don't even know people that have a truly electric vehicle. I know 2 people that have like a hybrid. So, I don't know. Random opinion here.
But and to your point, the issue is the charging stations, because if you have to buy your own, then it's very expensive. I know Mike Opelka, right, had to buy, and he said it was like $5,000 or something. It just became cost prohibitive.
Yep.
So, anyway.
Okay.
So, that one going on. Now I forget. Was I
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to sidetrack you.
Okay.
That was number 1.
Number 2, as we talk about the economy, because it's all about the economy, stupid, as goes the famous quote, U.S. retail sales posting their biggest gain in 6 months, and they're pointing to Amazon Prime Day as the one who delivered here.
Yeah.
So this morning's numbers, 0.7% of a gain in July. Americans picked up their spending at retail stores as well in July, even as inflation accelerated for the first time in more than a year. And retail sales, a measure of how much consumers spent on a number of everyday goods, cars, food, gas, those rose just 0.7% in July. These new numbers from the Commerce Department this morning, that's above both the 0.4% increase projected by the top economists and 0.2% gain recorded in June, but excluding the more volatile measurements of gas and autos. Those sales climbed 1%.
And what month was Amazon Prime Day? Was that July or June? I remember we talked about it because it was. I think. Was it July?
Well, I think it was July.
Was it July?
It?
Okay.
I think.
All right, kids. Here's what you got. Here's your options for the summer. We can either eat in June, we can have Amazon Prime Day in July, or we could take that vacation in August. But you only get one. It's very interesting that we actually saw that kind of growth in spending. I don't know where people are getting it from because I damn sure didn't participate.
Credit cards.
Yeah.
Now yesterday,
24% interest.
Yesterday, when you were doing your charity golf game with the Great Piazza family, were you wearing your short shorts?
Great question.
I was wearing shorts. Oh, yeah, I had golf shorts
Who
on.
wears short shorts?
Yeah.
Nick wears short shorts.
I didn't dare, though.
Oh, God.
So my next story is short shorts.
Yeah.
Golf influencer Paige Spiranac.
Oh, I love Paige.
Yeah, suggesting the PGA Tour take a page out of Live Golf's book and let the competitors wear shorts.
Yes.
Like Nick Kayal.
Yes, I do think.
Especially in the heat.
I do think the pros should absolutely be able to wear shorts when they play.
So I loved her quote. She posted this on X. So she said that the men on the PGA Tour should absolutely wear the shorts. The rule needs to change right now. And she said, and Lucas Glover won for the second week in a row.
In Memphis.
She also said that he
looked like he had a faucet running through his pants. It was so hot in Memphis on Sunday. He had the worst case of swamp, I've ever seen.
That's what she said.
Yes.
She said that he won for the worst documented case of swamp.
A double money signs. Yes.
That's amazing.
So Nick, you and Paige, there's symmetry here.
You could just stop right there, me and Paige. It's a ball game. It's a wrap. It's over.
So we are sponsored this morning by Millville Army Airfield Museum. Help honor World War II aviation heritage at Millville Army Airfield in New Jersey, America's first defense airport and gunnery school for P-47 Thunderbolt fighter pilots. Admissions free. Schedule a group tour online, p47millville.org. Become a member now.
Can I say something? And I don't want to get, because we've had this discussion before, but watching Dawn on the monitor here, we need a background for her. Mm-hmm. It's bugging me. I just don't like it. Like on my background, we have a bobblehead of Zioli.
Yeah.
We need something.
But even that's very low budget.
In Dawn's background too, because the camera, if it's 60% Nick, it's 50% her. So we need more. We need a background for Dawn.
Can we do like digital green screens in the background?
Well, no. And by the way, guys, both of you, steer clear of saying any sponsor that you want behind you, because we just don't want to go down that aisle. But if you have a suggestion of what should be behind Dawn, go to youtube.com/@1210WPHT right now and comment on what. See, Bubba45 says the American flag. I think that's a good.
Yeah,
I think that's a good idea.
I was going to say Paige Spiranac, but the flag's better.
youtube.com/@1210WPHT right now. Comment along and let us know what you think should be behind the lovely and talented Dawn Stensland. Maybe, Daniel, you could put her up on the screen so we can see what we're talking about here. It's just there's too much glare and there's too, we need like a painting or an American flag or something behind her. Right?
Yeah. Well, you got the studio doors with the sunlight coming through.
You see people walking by. All the other radio station people just.
It was either really well thought out, or they never thought about the visual aspect. If we went to YouTube, one of the two.
Somebody from KYW just came up to me and was like, "Whose idea was it to put your show on YouTube?" I said, "Well, it was mine." He goes, "That was a brilliant idea."
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
A lot of brilliant ideas come down this way of the hallway.
Tom Walsh says he'll sit behind you, Dawn.
Thanks, Tom.
Tom's willing to volunteer. I'll be your backdrop.
You know what? You could auction that off.
Oh, yeah.
So
we should do that for the Travis Manion Foundation next year.
That'd be a great idea.
You get like 6 figures for that.
And just have like a Chris Christie beach chair. And then you sit in the beach chair with your American flag.
Or Joe in the beach chair looking up at his umbrella.
Carol says, what about a big picture of Larry? Do you want a big picture of
Larry?
You want a big picture of Larry behind you?
Then it has to be my boys too.
If you had to pick a color, forget anything. Just a color. And we were just going generic color behind Dawn. Any color you want in the Crayola color of 64 crowns, what would you pick? I have my option. I want to see if we're on the same page here.
Well, normally blue is a beautiful backdrop.
Yeah, see, I was thinking
mustard.
Sorry. I don't know where that came from. A shade of yellow.
Mustard.
All right.
You have to go with what's flattering. That's why the American flag, red, white, and blue, is a very flattering background.
All right, we're getting too 12-year-old-ish right now. Let's get back to like the serious stuff.
Are we?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
because we talked a lot of Trump stuff today, so I think
I have cuts. I have cuts coming up, but I want to get.
Why are you so distant?
I want to get.
Sounds like your microphone's off.
Daniel, jump on the microphone here. What you think the green screens are too ugly for a Dawn background?
Oh yeah, green screens are heinous, especially if it's a virtual set. They're heinous.
Okay.
Did you guys ever watch Whose Line Is It Anyway with the green screen with Colin Mockery?
What about the American flag, Daniel? Could we do something like that? Because that's getting a lot of praise on YouTube.
You can do whatever you want.
Thank you, buddy. By the way, if you tuned in this morning, like 6 a.m., we had all kinds of issues with the thing.
Yeah.
Daniel just jumped right to it. And
And if you just
saved us.
arrived,
Where are you? Hello.
We start at 6, pal.
All right.
You good?
I'm good.
All right. Let's get to a late edition of part 2 of What's on the Cut Sheet, shall we?
Not 2.
What's on the cut sheet?
Part 2. Thank you. Part 2. What's on the Cut Sheet Part 2 is brought to you by Best Work Industries for the Blind. Best Work Industries for the Blind's e-commerce store is helping business succeed in all work environments. BestWorkSupplyCenter.com offers traditional office products, cleaning supplies, furniture, technology, and more with free shipping and next-day delivery. Shop now and save at BestWorkSupplyCenter.com. That's BestWorkSupplyCenter.com. I wanted to get to this. We were talking a lot about the tragedy that unfolded in Maui with the wildfires. The governor of Hawaii is a guy by the name of Josh Green, and he says the state will acquire the properties and land that were burnt as a memorial and workforce housing, which is just an odd way to frame this. This is the governor of Hawaii yesterday.
About preserving Lahaina moving forward.
I'm already thinking about ways for the state to acquire that land so that we can put it into workforce housing, to put it back into families, or to make it open spaces in perpetuity as a memorial to people who were lost. We want this to be something that we remember after the pain passes.
Well, what about the people that survived that just would like to have their property rebuilt right there and just go back to the way it was?
It sounds to me like
a land grab?
a giant land grab. Yes.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
The politician in me, which I'm not, but the politician thinking in me says that let's use tragedy to, try and move forward our agenda that we couldn't normally pass, but this gives us the opportunity to do so.
And then what? Stick people in apartments? I mean, what are you going to do here?
Workforce housing. I don't know what that is.
I don't either.
Workforce housing. A memorial and workforce housing. So.
Well, because I think California has this issue as well. So someplace like Hawaii, where it's not affordable for all the workers who work in the resorts and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
That's true.
Interesting.
Why the hell would anybody want to live in California or Hawaii? How do you live there? I just from a cost of living standpoint, it's not possible. Anyway.
CyberEgg says they're trying to make a total smart city and smart island. Interesting.
Oh.
Okay.
They say from the World Economic Forum that's the goal one day.
Jonathan Turley this morning was on Fox News discussing the Trump Georgia indictment. He says it's dangerous because it essentially criminalizes challenges to elections.
Turley right now. Fox News contributor Jonathan, good morning to you, and welcome to our coverage. Here's the indictment. We used 3 sets of staples to put it together. It's about 100 pages in length here. You read it. What do you make of it?
It's excessive, and I think it's also dangerous. It essentially criminalizes challenges to elections. There's no sort of limiting principle in this document. They are charging things like the president saying publicly we need to have a recount. Democrats and Republicans challenge these elections routinely. I've covered elections for various networks, I don't know how many now, but we often, if not always, have these challenges. Some are more supported than others, but they're not crimes. They're seeking judicial review, and that assures the public that there's someone watching over these elections. What's concerning particularly about this is that Willis didn't really show any semblance of restraint. She indicted everyone for everything she could think of. It is sort of the Jackson Pollock School of Prosecution. She threw it all against the canvas. And I think she is hoping that some of these other co-defendants will flip. But having said that, I think that the Trump team has to realize that this is a serious threat, not because of the merits, but because as a racketeering case, it's very hard to take these cases up on appeal before trial. It's very hard to get them dismissed on threshold questions. Willis will argue that she should have the right to present her evidence in trial in court. That is likely to be successful. Also, this is not a case that can be dismissed with a federal pardon, whether by Trump himself or by an elected Republican. That's why this has to be taken seriously.
You know, lost in all of this is such a simple notion. If we actually had everybody on the same page and the rules and the law applied evenly, we would be at a point where you can either have a judicial review and challenge elections, or you can't. You can't have it where the Republican does it and all hell breaks loose, and the Democrats do it and they get to operate with impunity. It's as simple as that. So either moving forward, like, there needs to be some sort of, something in place where, like, we're all going to challenge the stuff, or it's no, you can no longer throw the challenge flag. Sorry, it stands as called on the field.
By the way, we talked this morning, and we somebody on the YouTube chat brought it up. We didn't bring it up, but they said about the possibility of Kemp pardoning Trump.
Oh, that's a good point.
Apparently, in Georgia, he doesn't have the authority to do that.
Yeah, I thought we said that they have a board that's not necessarily Republican, so it's bipartisan, but they also have that caveat in there that you've served 5 years or something.
Gotcha.
I thought we did say that.
All right. That'll do it for What's on the Cut Sheet Part 2. We'll come back, find out what's on tap for the Dawn Show, and who on Twitter today. That's all still ahead on Kayal and Company.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-635-3311. That's 1-800-635-3311. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-635-3311. That's 1-800-635-3311.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at selectquote.com/commercials.
You've been wanting to check out that news story that everyone's talking about, but you just can't find the time. That's why the On Deadline podcast is here. We pull together interviews from Odyssey's radio newsrooms across the country and add important context so you can really get the news fast. From wildfires and catastrophes at sea to new laws and presidential candidates, we'll have coast-to-coast coverage for you all in one place. Subscribe to On Deadline on the Odyssey app or wherever you find your podcasts.
Hey, you know life throws you curveballs. Stress, anxiety, and unhappiness. I'm Dave Raymond, keynote speaker, and yes, the original Philly fanatic. And I want to talk to you. I've been sharing my message around the world. It's a message about how fun and happiness can make the world a better place and can save your life. Contact me now at DaveRaymondSpeaks.com. I'd love to speak for your team at your next company outing, conference, or meeting. See you soon at DaveRaymondSpeaks.com.
Hey, Paoli. You know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Kayal and Company, 9:50 Tuesday morning. Here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. The Dawn Show is coming up in 10 minutes, and we find out what is in store this morning.
And of course, we're continuing to update all the reaction and fallout after last night's Trump indictment news, the latest on that one. Coming up at 10:05, we're going to have Anthony Hennon return at Center Square, breaking down all the issues with Pennsylvania, the budget, labor shortages, UAW, rural health care, and so much more. And then at 11, we'll talk to EJ Antoni, who I love his latest article, which he entitled "Mr. Monopoly would be better at being Fed chairman." I happen to agree. So we'll mix in the economy because we do have economic news and it's all about the economy. And then as well, we have some new information as this developing stories. We learn more about this 17-year-old kid accused of getting all these mailings and weapons of mass destruction. What was found in a local home near West Philadelphia, just a couple-minute walk from the St. Joe's campus and the main line of Philadelphia. So we'll talk about the latest on that teen alleged terrorist. It's all coming up.
All right, the Dawn Show, just about 7 minutes out as we wrap it up on a Tuesday with Who Won Twitter Today.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
There we go. Hang on.
Who won Twitter?
By the way, if you have not done so, please hit the like button if you're watching right now on YouTube. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Forgotten Man 2022 wins Twitter. It's visual, but it's a picture of Joe Biden. Remember the picture of him with the backwards hat and the swimsuit? It's a picture of Joe Biden in that pose with a diaper on instead of his bathing suit standing there. Forgotten Man 2022 says this should be Dawn's background. I don't disagree with that, by the way. Here, if you're watching right now, I'm going to just put that up there on the YouTube thing. If you can see it, you can see it. I'm putting it up on my phone. There we go.
It's a big tuck there.
It is. Can we get that, Daniel? Can we get that for Dawn's background?
Can you imagine having that like as a fathead on your wall in your sports bar in your basement?
Actually, I want to take that photo if Forgotten Man 2022 is okay with it, and maybe for tomorrow's broadcast, we'll just kind of have that as the fourth screen.
Yeah.
You know, when we do a 3-screen, that can be a fourth screen.
The quad box.
I love that.
Joe's in the quad box. We should actually that's what we should do. Every day you should submit us a picture.
Oh, I like it.
And then we will have an alternating picture as like the honorary quad box guest host of the day.
I love it. It's a great idea.
Could be Biden in a diaper, Christie's belt breaking, whatever it is.
It's a great idea.
Would be a great idea. All right, 9:54. That'll do it for us here on a Tuesday. Stay tuned. The Dawn Show is up next. Hopefully everybody that likes listening to serious conversation enjoyed today's show. We'll get back to the 12-year-old shenanigans again tomorrow unless Trump gets indicted for the wildfires in Maui or Canada. Until then, have a great rest of your day. Dawn is next, and as Karine Jean-Pierre would say,
I'll see you tomorrow. Come talk to me.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-700-6898. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-700-6898. That's 800-700-6898. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
I'm asking about Prevnar 20 because there's a chance pneumococcal pneumonia could put me in the hospital. Age 65 or older, you may be at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a vaccine that can help protect against pneumococcal pneumonia in just 1 dose. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
I want to be able to keep my plans.
So I'm asking my doctor about getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
At Cherry Hill Volvo, we are partnering again with our Costco members. Purchase a certified 2020, 21, or 22 XC40, XC60, or XC90 and receive an incredible additional discount up to $1,500 off. A discount added to the unbelievably already aggressive pricing at Cherry Hill Volvo. Join us for this special offer. Cherry Hill Volvo and Costco and you, perfect together.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 103.9 FM.
Donald Trump and 18 of his allies have been indicted in Georgia for efforts to overturn the 2020 election. It's the former president's fourth indictment. He has until August 25th to voluntarily surrender. And a triple shooting in southwest Philly sends 2 women and a teenage boy to the hospital. The suspect has been arrested.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Just a reminder, as I've been doing for years, about batteries plus bulbs in Mount Laurel and Northfield. My buddy Roy, this guy had the vision of old-fashioned customer service married with technology to build custom battery packs, smartphone repairs, game console repairs. Give him a call. Anything in the technology field, you'll get old-fashioned customer service and great technical skill. Call him at 856-638-0778. Batteries plus bulbs, Mount Laurel and Northfield stores.
We at Aqua believe water is essential. That's why Aqua Pennsylvania invests more than $300 million yearly to ensure the treatment and delivery of safe drinking water to your homes and businesses. It's also why we ensure wastewater is treated properly and returned to streams and fields cleaner than when we removed it. You can save money and help the environment by finding and fixing leaks in your home, which can reduce your water and wastewater bills. Aqua, an essential utility, making sure quality water is there when you need it.
Lose weight and feel great with NJ Diet. NJ Diet uses DNA and blood work to help you lose weight and keep it off. Tune into the radio show Sunday at 2 or visit njdiet.com.
Tune in to Crash Proof Retirement Show, Saturdays at 11 a.m. to hear Phil Cannella and Joanne Small. The Crash Proof Retirement Show, Saturday mornings at 11 on Talk Radio 1210.
Chronic pain, cancer, fatigue. Find out about the benefits of medical hydration therapy on Health Watch with Dr. Molly Fantasia every Sunday morning at 8 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Did you know that our oceans are true climate heroes? They've absorbed over 90% of all the excess heat trapped on Earth. And without them, temperatures would have already soared by almost 100 degrees. But they can only take so much. Climate change is being driven by greenhouse gas emissions, threatening our planet and straining our oceans. You can help. Join Oceana today to protect our oceans at oceana.org/hero.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Live and local from Philadelphia. The Dawn Stensland Show on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
We'll get to all the news of DJT and the latest persecution, prosecution, whichever way you want to describe it. We've got it all, and there is new reaction this morning, so we'll get to the latest developments. I want to begin with this story that is captivating, and kudos to some of the local stations, at least one of them, 6ABC.